got the little man, you got the big man, and you got the bigger man.
Well, what's happening, everybody? Welcome to Nitromaniac TV's Wrestling Unlimited. I am, of course, a Kellen Nitro, as you can see on the lower left-hand corner of your screen. And welcome to the Classic Nitros Take Live show. If you're catching us on YouTube, great. If you're catching us on SoundCloud a little bit later on, thanks for taking us with you in whatever device you got. And if you're catching us on the Twitter, feel free to comment and add your comments below, and we should see them here on the stream. I guess I got everything there. Tonight, we're going to be taking a look at this classic show from 1996, maybe the classic show from 1996. It is the WCW Bash at the Beach 1996 in opinion and review. And how we structured the show is very much like it's like it's like Oprah's book club, but for wrestling fans. So, feel free to throw your comments in the comment boxes in wherever you're watching and that stuff as we go along and talk about this. But we got to bring in the people involved. Joining me tonight, as always, I am the hardcore fan, the hardcore wrestling fan. This is the lapsed fan, if you will, the guy who's sort of in, sort of not in. But when it comes to classic wrestling, he's all in, baby. It's Mr.TL. How you doing, sir?
Hey, yo.
Yes, tonight the hey-yos are definitely prevalent. This was your pick. This was your pick on the road.
This was my pick. This is the event I never actually watched back in the day, but it is one of the most pivotal moments in all of wrestling.
It is. It transcends promotions and time and everything. But there's all this talk about a third man, Mr. TL, and we got to bring in our third man. The Hollywood Hulk Hogan, if you will, to our Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. It's the one and only Craig P Fraser. Slow roll.
Ladies and gentlemen, starting at guard from the University of North Carolina, Michael Jordan!
Is that Bash at the Beach, or are we thinking wrestling? Oh, it's wrestling tonight.
It's wrestling, yes. Yeah. But, hey, 1996, right in the wheelhouse of Jordan and company's dominance in the NBA at that time. They were using Sirius. They were walking out to huge ovations over at the United Center in Chicago. But we're talking about what's happening in the WCW, brother.
Yes, I am excited.
Yes.
That was a pretty epic entrance right there.
That was probably the most epic intros of epic intros.
I was about to break out the Space Jam and be like, Larry, that could have been me.
A little Bill Murray action.
No, Bill, face it, you can't play. Okay. Let's go Bulls.
Yeah, that is the best.
Bulls.
When he says, like, when he's
Go
like,
Bulls.
crying in the arena. Let's go Bulls!
Yeah.
I was gonna say this pay-per-view did happen at that. Was this the year MJ came back? Or was that 95? Or he's gone in 95?
No,
06.
he's back in 96. Yeah, so he's gone in 95. Yeah,
It is topical.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
96, 7, 8. Those are the three-peat Bulls second time.
That's right. That's right. The with the man in the middle, Luke Longley, and all those guys. Yeah, Scotty.
Oh my God, you picked
Rodman.
Luke Longley of all those Bulls.
I used to have
not Pippen, not
NBA
Rodman.
NBA Jam, my jam on NBA Jam was Longley and Rodman, I think, were my two guys.
Oh my lord.
All the time.
I was a Steve Kerr guy.
Hey man, he hit them
I-
threes, and he teach those boys how to hit those threes, and it got them to some championships out in Golden State.
I'll just say this:
Hmm?
when I was a kid, I was always a hockey kid. I
Mhm.
always
Mhm.
played hockey, and I loved professional hockey players. But nobody ever was an idol to me quite like Michael Jordan was. Like
Cool.
he
Yeah.
was Michael Jordan. You know,
Yeah.
he was the best.
Of course.
Space Jam, amazing. LeBron ruined it. Anyway,
Ron did ruin Space Jam, I ain't gonna lie.
It wasn't a good
It's
remake.
terrible.
No, definitely.
No.
Yeah. For sure.
but the reason that we've congregated is to talk about the 1996 WCW pay-per-view Bash at the Beach.
By the way, that's the VHS cover. What you saw in the opening was the pay-per-view poster, both featuring the smiling shark. I almost said smiling dolphin. It's not. It's the smart shark, as I like to call it. the smart shark, or the smart ass shark, not the smart shark, but
That's 6 times fast.
if you know what I mean. But there we go. So yeah, infamous, famous, whatever you want to say about this show. It's we'll divulge it as we roll along here, but we're going to take you back to July 7th, 1996, to the Ocean Center in Daytona Beach, Florida. Now, some back history leading up to this show. First of all, this is the second pay-per-view known as Bash at the Beach that WCW had put on. The year before, they put on Bash at the Beach in Huntington Beach, California, which basically was, well, this. It was a co-produced thing between WCW, Slim Jim, and the television show Baywatch for B-roll.
Slim Jim.
So, yeah, that's basically all you need to know about the 95 Bash at the Beach. Hogan Vader in a cage. That's about it. So that was the year previous. WCW at this time is two things. Number one, let's try to do what WWF is doing, but better, which they weren't. they painfully weren't. And number two, let's try to appease our biggest star, aka let's try to appease Hulk Hogan.
Maybe not the biggest star, but definitely the biggest contract.
Mm-hmm. Yes. They had signed Hogan in the summer of 94, and it easily dwarfed anybody else's contract on the roster. I think he was being paid upper eight figures, maybe. Like into the 8 figures.
Billionaire Ted backed up
Yeah.
the Brinks truck, brother.
Yeah. Whereas everybody else, I think like maybe like Sting and those guys were not even getting 7 figures. They might have been getting like 500,000 or something.
Probably.
Yeah. Yeah. The figures might be a little, off because I'm just trying to go off.
All right, come on, more backstory.
Yeah.
More
There we go.
backstory. Let's
More
get into this
backstory.
thing.
Here we go. So, like I said, landmark show in WCW's history. The shows leading up to this show are just pure WCW cheese, because you have back in the springtime Hulk Hogan's last appearance on pay-per-view. This is important because it comes up later. Is a pay-per-view called Uncensored 1996, where he teams in the main event with the Macho Man Randy Savage and Sting to take on the, and I put this in air quotes, Coalition to End Hulkamania, which involved all of the members of the Dungeon of Doom, so about 6 guys, all of the members of the Four Horsemen, so about 3 or 4 guys, Z Gangsta, who is Zeus, and Jeep Swenson in a weird gimmick, who is this really big, huge, 6'5", overly roided dude that they came out. I think they called him the Punisher or something like that.
He
taken on.
Swanson played Bane in Batman and Robin.
That's it. Yes, the guy who played Bane in Batman and Robin. Yeah.
He was in WCW at this time.
In a triple cage match. So envision 3 cages, one stacked on top of another, on top of another. Hogan and Macho start, I think, at the top of the cage and work their way down. And if they can get through all 3 cages, they win the match.
Sounds like a video game.
That was Hulk Hogan's last pay-per-view appearance leading up to this.
So so it was Hogan, Macho, and Sting against everybody else?
Against about 8 or 12 guys.
Way to bury your heels. Like these are the guys that they want to have some kind of credibility going up against Hogan, but he just walked through all of them through 3 cages with Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yeah. So that's the last time we see Hogan on pay-per-view in WCW at that time. So the storylines move on. Hogan's only contracted at this point to do 4 WCW pay-per-views per year. That was the first one he did, was the uncensored pay-per-view. So he's still due for 3 more throughout 1996. They haven't used them since. Meanwhile, the rest of WCW is shaping up underneath him in the mid card. You have your WCW World Heavyweight Champion going into this pay-per-view is the Giant, otherwise known as Big Show Paul White. Exactly. that fellow.
Oh, sorry. That's Jericho.
A surprise here, your United States champion, which is WCW's equivalent to the Intercontinental belt, is Conan. And this is Lucha Libre Conan. This is pure, straight from AAA wrestling in Mexico, Conan. And not only
keeping in mind, he was in WWF under a weird gimmick and then took a break and then came back into Max Moon. And he came into the WCW. Max Moon was Conan.
Craig Fraser, do yourself a quick favor and Google Max Moon.
Was he like? Do you look like Sailor Moon? Like was he a tuxedo mask?
He definitely had a mask. Jesus. I don't know.
Like somebody strapped a jock strap to his face. He looks like Mega Man if he got hit with like a ugly stick.
Mm-hmm.
What is that? That is just not good. He looks like the Gamma Bomb guy from fucking Billy Madison.
What a reference. What a reference.
I think Billy Madison was 1996, right? So it fits.
No, 95.
Oh, 95. So a year before. Well, close enough. It would have been on VHS.
No, Billy Madison was before Happy Gilmore.
Yes. By the way, we R.I.P. Carl Weathers.
R.I.P. Carl Weathers.
Yes.
Black History Month, people.
You son of a bitch. Best handshake ever.
And forever the greatest putting tips of all time. Just tap it in. Just tap it in.
A little tappy.
Just a little tappy. Taparoo. Yes. So that's your basically your championship. There's also a ring that's going around too. It's called the Battle Bowl ring. This happens out of a pay-per-view that they're holding annually called Slamboree. And it's out of something called the Lethal Lottery, where you take all of your mid-card guys, put all of their names into a bowl, shake it up, and then pull 2 names out. They're a tag team. Another 2 names out. They're a tag team. So on and so forth. We saw this last year in AEW.
Yeah, I'm like, didn't AEW do this? Holy shit, are they terrible?
So what happens is you win matches, and then at the end of the pay-per-view, if you take the final 2 teams standing, they go head-to-head, and then the 2 members of those 2 teams will fight for the ring, the Battle Bowl ring. And the winner of that gets the Battle Bowl ring for a year. Diamond Dallas Page is the current going into this pay-per-view Battle Bowl champion or Battle Bowl ring holder.
What does it give you? Do
you
get a title shot?
Nothing.
Oh, what's the point?
You're the Battle Bowl ring holder, buddy.
You are the Battle Bowl ring holder.
You're not the king of the ring. You don't get a briefcase. You don't get a title shot.
Yeah.
They don't give you a trophy. What the fuck? Who wants to be this thing?
I think he got a U.S. title shot on Nitro or something for it, but since then he's still holding the Battle Bowl championship. By the way, quick rolling back to Conan, his U.S. title reign that we're watching going into this pay-per-view here makes him the longest reigning U.S. title holder of all the Monday Night Wars, because I think he wins the title in like March or April or something like that. and this is July.
Okay.
Yeah. Nobody else held it for 3 months.
Okay.
Yes. Not even
So it's a
Goldberg.
revolving door of a title.
That's right.
And he didn't lose the title until the 1998 pay-per-view Bash at the Baja, which is like Bash at the Beach, but it's the Bash at the Baja.
The Baja. Yes, we know, Mr. Ventura. God damn it.
So we're over 10 minutes into lore. That's all the lore you need to know right now and that stuff. So there's no Hogan leading into this pay-per-view because the common place knowledge is Hogan is on sabbatical shooting a movie or something like that. Now, since I think early May in WCW or so, there's been interruptions on Monday Nitro by a guy that looks suspiciously like, well, let's face it, it is Razor Ramon walking through, interrupting things on Nitro. A few weeks after he shows up, well, a guy that looks suspiciously like Diesel from the WWF shows up right beside him. And they basically call out WCW saying, listen, we're taking over. We're invading. We want a match against your best. Let's take them on and let's see what we got against these guys. Fast forward to the Great American Bash, which was the pay-per-view prior to this one, which was in June. There is a confrontation where Eric Bischoff interviews Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, but they're not known. Their names are not known at that time. They're just the two outsiders. And basically Bischoff gets powerbombed through the stage at the end of the interview. But before then, WCW accepts the challenge of the outsiders. It will be the outsiders versus 3 of WCW's named wrestlers at the Bash at the Beach pay-per-view. So Bischoff gets carted off. You don't really hear from him much. He starts going back to doing his commentary on Nitro a few weeks after and that stuff. But what we find out in between then is what sets up to be the main event of this card, which is a 6-man tag, which will be on one side, the outsiders of Hall, Nash, and a mystery partner versus 3 names that were drawn out of a lottery that WCW is sending forward, which is Randy Savage, Lex Luger, and Sting. And that's your main event.
Fishbowl gets a lot of work, huh?
It does, yes. it's like the Super 7 Lotto or something, or the Lotto Max, I should say, the Powerball. So, yeah. What did you guys think of the knockoff Seal Get a Little Crazy track over the video package at the beginning of the show? By the way, we're watching the WWE Network version of this show, just for clarification here.
I didn't know that's what that was.
That's exactly what I thought it was. So here's the thing. Did you know that I had a wrestling character idea where I was like the anti-Undertaker and I would come out to the ring in like a white robe and like just ridiculous. And it was supposed to be a comedic character, and my ring entrance music was going to be Crazy by Seal. It was basically going to be this song. And then when like this pay-per-view started, I remember thinking, I was like, this is Seal. Why are they
Seal? Yes.
I didn't think that like I'm expecting like Bash at the Beach. I'm expecting because this is like their WCW SummerSlam, right? So this is
it is, yes.
I'm expecting like a wrestling time, And then all of a sudden I'm just taken to like I'm like wanting to like just like lie on like a floaty on like this like Mayan Riviera. Just
She's never gonna survive. Oh no.
Unless
they get a little crazy.
I'm a little weirded out. Why are you guys such Seal fans? What is happening right now?
90s kids.
Seal is terrific.
Literally the only song I know from Seal was that Kiss on the Rose thing.
So this,
I can bear to a kiss from a rose.
So this one, Get a Little Crazy, is his second biggest hit. Kiss from a Rose was his biggest hit. This is his second biggest hit.
Kiss from the Rose was his only hit. How you know the second song? That's beyond me.
You know what?
No, this is his biggest hit.
Seal is the musician version of Wayne Brady.
He is.
I don't know a single white person who doesn't like Seal. Everybody loves Seal. He's the best.
Black History Month, everybody.
Are you gonna let me grab a picture of our boy here. Hang on.
Oh God, don't put that ugly Scardy face up on here.
From the crazy music video. He's got the white robe on. He's slapping the bass.
Yes, yeah, it's such an epic track.
You slapping the bass, man.
Slapping the bass.
Slapping the bass, man.
Mm-hmm. So, by the way, there's a new Bob Marley movie coming out. That'll be pretty cool. But anyway.
I saw that. Oh God! Son of a bitch! Take that down.
Chilling. He's just chilling. That's just
chill.
Take it down.
Guy's a lyrical genius.
He is.
Looks like a French football player.
He's the saving grace of Batman Forever.
That one song, yes, that was the one song. That's all he gave him.
Although I love the
Heidi
Flaming
Klum
Lips
for a
track
while.
off that soundtrack, but that's beside the point. So there we go. But
what?
The Flaming Lips have a song on that soundtrack for Batman Forever. It's amazing. It's such a great track.
What's it called?
I can't remember now.
Anyway, bash at the beach.
Well, speaking of more cringeworthy shit with this pay-per-view, what the fuck was this setup?
The arena setup.
Beach balls. Yeah, there's beach balls. There's fake sand, or maybe it might have been real sand. A couple of chairs in there. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? How is this in any way? I don't know how to explain this. How does this get you ready for a fight?
Yeah, I don't think I have a. Well, hang on. I might have a picture of the set here. Hang on.
There's a wooden plank at the top of the stage. That's supposed to be like the boardwalk. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, WCW had kind of pushed the limits a little bit with their sets in passability, I guess, over their past few pay-per-views and that stuff. But mid-90s WCW pay-per-views, the sets would always follow a formulaic thing, kind of similar to how or unironically, I guess, AEW does theirs now, where there's two video screens on the left and right hand side. The wrestlers will entrance through the center, and there's some sort of logo for the show right in the middle of it for the big show. So, but anyway, that's kind of, you see, there's like a giant parrot here over top of Hull's. He looks like he's holding the giant parrot, which is kind of hilarious.
Yeah, he's doing a Coco Beware in this shot.
Yeah. And there's another one right over on your left-hand side too, and there's the logos, and then you see a
Like,
little
it
bit
looks
of the video
ridiculous.
wall,
It's so
This
bad.
looks like
that set would have been a mess to clean up.
Yes.
Just
Oh my
terrible
Lord.
mess.
Well, we see all of it during the show. We'll come up.
Oh
and
my
talk about that.
God.
We do see all of it. So, but
We'll get to it.
We definitely will get to it here. So we have a new commentary team to dissect, because again, we're changing promotions. This is our first ever WCW show that we've ever reviewed on Classic Nitro Take Live with these two gentlemen, at least. Bobby the Brain Heenan rejoins us as a color commentator here. And Tony Schiavone is your lead announcer, him of the "It's Sting" moniker of today. But the other color commentator is the legend himself, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, the OG Rhodes that wanted to finish the story, So, but gentlemen, what did you think of these three as a team?
I don't mind Tony Schiavone commentary. I think he's pretty good. I don't put him up there with a Jim Ross or a Gorilla Monsoon.
He's the Michael Cole of WCW.
But I don't know. I thought he was okay during this. Dusty could fuck off. I mean,
Wow.
He's the American Dream. He was a great wrestler. I think he was a great trainer. I mean, obviously he's a legend.
But did you see that move right there by Rey Mysterio? I don't even know what he just did, baby.
We just spit around. I couldn't understand it. And I'm just like,
he's spinning around. He's taking him upside down. That's right, baby.
I could have done with just Schiavone and Bobby the Brain Heenan myself, but Dusty
Bobby's always classic.
Yeah, Bobby's always great, and this is still where he gave a shit going to WCW. His final year in WCW, which was the final year of the company, you could tell that he had checked out. But 96, you're still getting quality Bobby the Brain Heenan showing up to these shows. It's about 98, 99, he starts to kind of, oh, this sucks. I'm kind of just mailing it in going forward. But
I gotta say, I hate what I hate about Schiavone is that he doesn't emote properly. It's like
he does the same songy thing that you hate from McMahon, I notice.
Yeah.
He does.
Yeah, he does.
Where he's talking one act of, and then he's like, he picks him up and that's down.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's everything I hate about McMahon, but in the Michael Cole kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like Shivani. I'm sorry. Let's just put it out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like Shivani. Fuck Shivani.
Mm-hmm.
He stinks.
I could see that. I appreciate him for his career. I love his podcast he does with Conrad Thompson. I think he's a great storyteller when you get him in a Q&A scenario and that stuff and whatever. I never cared much for him as a primary announcer myself either. I just was like,
agree.
There's better voices out there, Jim Ross, Gorilla Monsoon.
And it's a damn shame that Excalibur takes after Tony Schiavone. That's the guy he looks up to.
It's not as noticeable with him though, I find, but yeah, I can see that.
Excalibur is also some garbage, but let's go to this pay-per-view.
Yeah, we're straying a little bit from there, but yeah, so that's your commentary team going forward to this. We get some hype about the main event 6-man and then right into our opening contest at Bash at the Beach, scheduled for a fall. Do I have the matchup graphic? I guess I don't. But you know what? I got something better than that here. We have in the cruiserweight division, a cruiserweight opener, one-on-one. We have Sikosis taking on Rey Mysterio Jr. And this was that is Rey's theme. So there we go.
That was Rey Mysterio's song. It kind of sounds like Stilio Contos from American Dad.
I was sitting here watching when Rey Mysterio came out to that song. I was like, this is a terrible theme. This is a terrible theme. And I was just waiting for Booyaka Booyaka 619.
Nope.
They used to do that on the network. They used to redub all his WCW music with just the Booyaka Booyaka theme or his first SmackDown theme.
Who's that jumping out the sky? R-E-Y, Mysterio. Here we go.
Here we go.
Exactly. But so they stopped doing that, I think, after people started complaining when the network first launched, and then they just re-uploaded all the old shows with the original music with him in it. So it's one of the many edits they've done on the network before. So the runtime for this one was 15 minutes and 18 seconds. I'm just going to run down quickly. There was a pre-show prior to this, and while we do that, I'm going to say, "Woo, Undertaker!" Below Craig is the Nitromaniac TV Undertaker with all the news and notes from the July 7th, 1996 Bash at the Beach pay-per-view. And there we go. I guess that's the Canadian urn right there. Here are the matches we didn't see because they decided to run a 1 hour special on TBS prior to the pay-per-view to get people to buy the pay-per-view. So we had Jim Powers defeating Hugh Morris from the Dungeon of Doom in 423. We had the Steiner brothers, Rick and Scott Steiner, defeating Harlem Heat by disqualification, 5 minutes and 1 second for the match was for the WCW Tag Team Championship that Harlem Heat held at that point. But because it was a disqualification, the Steiner brothers don't walk out with the belts. It's still Harlem Heat.
Harlem Heat was Booker T and his brother, Stevie Ray.
That's right.
Hulk Hogan, we coming for you.
No, don't say it.
We'll get canceled if you finish that off. Yes. Bobby Walker defeated Billy Kidman in 2 minutes. So this was pre Flock Billy Kidman, so I don't know how good he would be at that point. A nod from the past here, the Rock and Roll Express defeating Fire and Ice, which is Scott Norton and Ice Train, which was New Japan Pro Wrestling's number 1 or number 2 tag team at the time, in 2 minutes and 8 seconds.
There's a guy named Ice Train.
Ice Train. Google Ice Train WCW.
Oh my god!
I'm talking about
that's just not that's not even a very effective like locomotive. Like, it's an ice train. It's frozen solid. It can't move anywhere. See, this is a huge dude. Like, you could have had him booked as the Beast or something, or and Monster Man. But Ice Train, you've
seen Scott Norton before, obviously.
Oh yeah, he's a big guy too.
Yeah, so that was Norton's first venture to WCW from New Japan was to be tagged with this guy.
All Japan? New Japan?
No, New Japan. I misspoke. It's not All Japan. It's New Japan.
Wow.
Mhm.
All right.
And then the next match.
Then the match that we just talked about. Mysterio defeating Psychosis. In
No.
15-18.
You missed one.
Oh, yes, that's right. I did. So the final match of the pre-show, again, this is a 5-card pre-show, was Eddie Guerrero defeating Steven Regal in 3 minutes and 38 seconds. This match did not make the pay-per-view. This match was the main event of the pre-show.
Are you kidding?
Let's keep in the fucking Nasty
I'm not
Boys
kidding.
and
I'm
goddamn
serious.
Public Enemy, and let's cut Eddie Guerrero and William Regal the fuck out of here.
Get rid of the Nasty Boys. Put William Regal and Eddie Guerrero on as a cooker match.
Again, yes.
Those two guys would have been like technical brilliance.
Here's my hot take. I looked at this and I looked at Malenko Disco Inferno, and I'm like, maybe those matches could flip spots a little bit.
Nobody's ever wanted to see Disco Inferno beyond the entrance.
We'll get to that when we get to it. But
okay.
it might be one of the rare times you and I actually agree on something, Mr.TL.
Good.
We'll talk to that there. But we're talking Mysterio versus Psychosis here. This match, like I said, 15-18. Rey Mysterio defeating Psychosis. Banger opener. Holy cow, this was a banger match. I enjoyed this from bell to bell. This was really good. What was the finish here? The finish for this thing was Rey's only 21 years old here, and Psychosis is only 25. And these guys had wrestled the night before in Mexico City for AAA. So they get on a flight, change time zones, go across the Gulf to Daytona Beach for WCW's pay-per-view.
Yep,
that's crazy.
Mm-hmm. This kind of works as like a little bit of a eliminator too, because these two fought in the opener. They would take on, and it wasn't mentioned during the pay-per-view, but it was mentioned the next night on Nitro, that the winner of that match would take on the winner of the Malenko Disco Inferno match for the Cruiserweight title to open up Nitro the next night.
This would have been Mysterio Malenko.
Yes.
No.
That's what happened.
I thought Psychosis won this match.
No, it was Mysterio.
No, Mysterio
did I watch the wrong pay-per-view again? No,
jumping off the sky. Oh, you why Mysterio?
The finish was a Niagara driver attempt by Psychosis, gets flipped or reversed into a Frankensteiner off the top rope by Rey that nets him the 1-2-3 to a huge
I'm
pop
sorry.
in the crowd.
I know what I did. I'm sorry. I watched this match.
Yes.
And I liked it. And then I remembered I've seen them work in ECW before this.
Yes.
Psychosis and Rey Mysterio. They had like a trilogy.
They did.
In ECW.
Yes.
And so after this match, I went over to YouTube and I YouTubed that match. And that's where Psychosis beat Rey Mysterio in their first night in the company. Yes. And they had a much better match in ECW than what they had here.
Now, that's the one where he does a Hurricane Rana off the top of the car in the parking lot, right?
No, that's later. That's another match.
That's another match. Okay. Yeah, but that does happen during ECW Rey and Psychosis match. Yeah.
That off the car spot, that happens in a match where they call it a Mexican death match. It's where you have to pin your opponent.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, and then they have 10 seconds to get back up. And if they don't, they lose.
Yes. Okay.
So it was in that match. He did the Hurricane Rana off the top of a car to Psychosis on the ground. That was amazing. But this match was still good. It's just that I've seen them do it even better in ECW, which is weird.
That's what I was thinking too in the back of my head. It's like, the better matches are in ECW, and the even better matches are in AAA if you decide to go down that rabbit hole on YouTube one night, because those guys are just, Lucha, no limits. They're actually working for that company at that time. So they want to impress people. So there we go.
I was going to say at one point in this match, this is, I think, when he does the Hurricanrana and somebody, they don't seem to know what it is, but they're like, I think there's that move called the Hurricanrana.
Well, Mike Tenay is there and he tries to elaborate
what a
little
nerd.
bit on stuff.
What a fucking nerd.
And Dusty just kind of shoots him down a little bit.
I'm so happy he does. Well, really, Rey Mysterio used to be called the Hummingbird, which is El Colibri in Spanish, because his uncle was the Rey Mysterio Sr., and he gave him the mask and adorned him Rey Mysterio Jr.
Wow.
Mike, today, would you shut the fuck up over there?
Yeah.
I valued that. I didn't know that.
It didn't matter. It does. These guys are working their ass off in the middle of the ring, and Nerd Boy here is just spouting out useless facts while the action is going on. Call the fucking match.
It's a little
so here's the thing that'll blow your mind too. That Rey Mysterio Sr. actually worked a WCW pay-per-view.
My mind isn't blown, but all right.
He worked multiple matches on a WCW pay-per-view. He was part of Team Mexico with Conan at Starrcade 1990. There was a tag team tournament that was won by the Steiner brothers in 1990 at Starrcade for, I think, like the tag team titles or something, or it was some trophy. And it was for a trophy for a chance at the tag team titles. And Conan and Rey Mysterio Senior were a team that was representing Mexico, because it was like a world. They were doing like a World Cup gimmick where they took wrestlers from different countries and put them together and that stuff. The guys that represented Canada were not quality. They weren't from Stampede or any quality promotions. They were like from bingo halls out of Ontario or something. Like they weren't very good.
Was it at least Earthquake?
No, it was two guys I guarantee you have never heard of in your life.
Probably.
Yeah, and they were just out of Toronto or something like that.
Was it that guy that faced the Undertaker in that weird ass event you made us watch?
No.
He had a patch on and he was a pirate.
Oh, Jean-Pierre Lafitte? No, he's from Quebec.
Yeah, John.
Don't get somebody confused from Ontario with somebody confused from Quebec.
You said Team Canada. You didn't say Team Ontario.
I corrected myself. I said Toronto. I'm pretty sure I said Toronto.
You said Team Canada because it was a Team Mexico, because it was a World Cup gimmick. Let's get back to the goddamn pay-per-view.
Yes, exactly. So, but so that show that's just an absolute banger. That opener with Ray and Psicosis and that stuff. So Ray gets the win. He'll move to Nitro the next night to take on whoever wins Malenko Disco for the Cruiserweight title to open up the show. So there we go. This match would be at home on any card today. Yes, I wrote that down. So there we go. So now we go to the back under the auspices of an interview, and we have Mean Gene with Conan talking. And yes, there's your U.S. champion, Conan, at the time talking to Mean Gene Okerlund. This is pre-K-Dog Conan. Like I said, more Max Moon than anything else. He's got flair tonight. He's still got a little bit of the Max Moon motif with the tights a little bit, and that's a lot of streamers.
Dude, what the fuck is he wearing? I know that picture doesn't show it, but if they zoomed out like they did in the TV thing,
yeah,
he's wearing like sparkles and tassels and a thong. He looks like Oscar from the waist down.
He's during the mid-90s, Conan still kept a little bit of that Max Moon look, because that was the gimmick that, springed him to at least North American notoriety a little bit. And
it's actually really funny because like from the waist down, he's Max Moon, and from the waist up, he's like the NWO Wolfpack looking Conan. It's kind of funny. He looks like a mismatch of video games.
He is. It looks like somebody's palette swapped two different versions of Conan and put them together. Yeah.
This is like the in-between Conan evolution. It's really funny.
Do you like Conan trying to explain calmly in calm terms to Mean Gene what they just saw at the end of the Rey Mysterio Psychosis match?
I was going to say, in this interview, it's kind of funny. It's like Conan, he's like, you could tell he's probably a good promo in Spanish, but in English, like the words don't quite connect, but he's got the cadence right. He just doesn't have all the words to fill it in.
He's filling in the blanks as this year goes on. He's a lot better in 97 than he was in 96 with his promo and that stuff.
Well, yeah, because they'll let him speak a little Spanish here and there and throw some slang in it. But when he's doing a straight up promo like this, yes, in Spanglish. But in this, when he's doing it straight up English, he was like, not going right.
I could kind of see that. Yeah. It can kind of, and that's it. I'm just since Joe Mariota of the of the OVP Our Vantage podcast put that tweet out over the past week on Mean Gene Okerlund and him having a very heavily Minnesotan accent. I've been watching Mean Gene interviews, just trying to pick up on the different Minnesotan accents and that stuff.
It's not the Minnesota accent. It's the fact that any word that has any form of "een" in the word, he's going to say it like Gene because he's Gene Okerlund.
Olympiques.
And sometimes, he says the Olympiques.
Olympiques.
If I were you, I wouldn't make fun of anybody from the great state of Minnesota.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Okay, Governor.
Games and in peak physical condition.
Of course, this is Jesse the Body Ventura.
Ventura. Yes, there we go. Well, the quality of the pay-per-view kind of dips for a little bit here.
A little.
just a little. Are you ready for the Carson City Silver Dollar match? John Tenta versus Big Bubba.
Big Bubba is the big boss man.
And John Tenta was Earthquake.
Yay, it's an old 1992 WWF match on a pole.
On a pole, yes. This is years before Russo even got there too. So it's yes. So the idea of this thing is there's a sock on top of a pole that's filled with coins. The first person to climb the pole, grab the sock, use it on their opponent, and get the 1, 2, 3 gets the win. Well, I guess basically get the 1, 2, 3. I don't understand why you have to climb up the pole to get the sock, but anyway, whatever. It's just
that's exactly what WCW
match.
was. That's exactly what WCW was. Oh, well, whatever. We don't need any logic. We don't need an explanation. We're just going to put a roll of quarters up on a pole, and you're going to have to go and get it. And if you get it, you get to use it.
So Tenta was Shark in the Dungeon of Doom. Kevin Sullivan, the Taskmaster, kicked him out of the Dungeon of Doom, shaved his head, and brought in Big Bubba as his replacement. And then Bubba and Tenta had a match at the Bash at the Beach, which Tenta won, and then proceeded to cut Bubba's beard afterwards, his goatee, and led to this. So this was the no disqualification.
You said Bash at the Beach. Did you mean Great American Bash?
I meant Great American Bash, yes.
See, this is why they shouldn't have two pay-per-views called Bash and Bash. It's stupid.
It's the mid-90s. They're partying. We're all having bashes at that point.
Nobody's having bashes.
No, it's a bash. It's a big party.
Bullshit is what it is.
So, Tenta looks like a fat Jake Roberts here.
Oh Lord, wow.
There's your visual.
I think he looks like Earthquake with a haircut.
I kind of a couple of times looked at it and it's like, oh geez, without the beard, Tenta kind of looks like Jake Roberts, but just fatter.
Oh God, that's so mean and accurate.
I'm not gonna lie, just everything about this match can be summed up with the fact that I watched this match, and as it started, I fell asleep. I fell asleep as I was sitting on my couch watching this on my phone, and I woke up, and the match had ended, and I was during a promo, but it was just after this match, and so I said, "Oh, I got to rewind and watch this match," and I rewound the match when I woke up, and I watched it all again. And I wish I didn't.
I know. I was watching this thing too. And what's the runtime for it? I think the runtime
9 minutes.
About 8 minutes, 53 seconds. So 9 minutes. Yeah. I wish I had that 9 minutes back myself. Yes. Not very good. Basically, Jimmy Hart climbs the pole because both guys are too big to climb the pole. Hence, why are we having something on a pole if both individual wrestlers can't climb said apparatus, but whatever. However, Tenta does have the psychology to grab clippers during the match and cut the ratchet straps holding the pole to the ring post, at least. And it's like, okay, so that's semi-thinkable, sure, right, or plausible, I guess, whatever. Hart grabs the sock, not realizing that Tenta has knocked out Big Bubba below him, and throws the sock down, or at least walks down and gets clobbered by Tenta. Tenta grabs the sock, clobbers Bubba with the sock and gets the 1-2 free. So babyface pop, yay!
When he hit him with the sock and he went down, and then he pinned him, and I was like,
Yeah.
Fuck. It's the word that came out of my mouth. I was like, that's the step.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is all that, and whack, I win.
Yep. Welcome.
Oh God, WCW.
Yeah.
The worst.
Yes. There we go. So back to commentary. Another sub storyline going on here is the absence of Eric Bischoff. I'll explain this at the end of the pay-per-view as we find out more in the post-show, but Eric Bischoff is supposed to be the host and the lead play-by-play man for at least the WCW pre-show at this time. Of course, we all know behind the scenes, he's the executive producer of WCW at this time. But on camera, at least, the on-camera Eric Bischoff character didn't show up to work or was not in the building at all. And commentary was a little freaked out over this, being like, it's not like Eric to miss a show like this, especially this. What's going on? Blah, 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 blah. So, spoiler, Bischoff doesn't show up at all during this pay-per-view in any role. The next time we hear from him is the next night on Monday Nitro, and I'll get to that at the end of the review here. What happened?
We have to.
I mean, it's part of the lore that I'll make it quick at the end of the show. So
You damn well better.
So
I'm back.
Oh Lord.
Better than ever.
So Mean Gene is backstage again, talking to these three gentlemen. Even though Savage has his camera turned,
Actually,
his
I
back
can-
turned to us.
I can-
Luger, Stig, and Macho.
I can do the voices of all those characters.
Please
Okay.
do this. Please.
There we go.
Let's go.
So we now turn to our promo interpreter, Craig P. Fraser, over what was said during this promo here. So, Craig, take it away.
So, hold on a second. You got to get back here.
Yeah.
Back. Here we go.
Okay, hang on. I think I got a better one here. I'm just going to take a look. But
No,
for right
use
now,
the same one.
here, we'll use this one for
Okay.
the time being. Go for it.
It's so you got Macho Man's there on the left, so he's probably just like, oh yeah, Macho Man's got his back to the camera. That you shouldn't be doing that, Macho Man. You should know better. And then you got Gene, who's like, okay, now I'm Mean Gene Okerlund, and I'm here interviewing these people. Sting, what do you have to say for yourself? And Sting was like, woo! And then Lex Luger. And he's doing this promo right now, and I imagine Lex Luger sounds something like this. Oh, dear God. My name's Lex, and I'm at Bash at the Beach. But there's just one problem. Everybody still thinks that I absolutely suck. No, Macho Man's like, oh, yeah, Mean Gene. Let me tell you something we're going to do tonight. Macho Man Randy Savage, he's got the purple and the yellow on. He looks like a really roided up court jester. Oh, yeah, slap a new stage.
All of the cocaine.
and
All of the
Sting
cocaine.
is in the back there. Sting is in the back. Like,
Oh,
they can't tell that I'm farting right now. And that is the face that I have. and then Lex Luger is standing there, and I imagine inside Lex Luger's head, he's just like, I wonder if Miss Elizabeth and I are going to do drugs tonight.
oh Lord. Oh my God.
Well,
Oh my God. Woo.
I'll be moving on here. Yes.
And scene.
Speed. Well done. Yes, thank you. Craig P. Fraser will be with us all throughout 2024 on our Classic Nitros Take lives and that stuff. Be sure to try your waitress and tip your veal. Yes.
Oh my God.
So, anyways, our next contest is for the aforementioned Lord of the ring. It is the taped fist match for the Lord of the Ring, where we have Hacksaw Jim Duggan taking on Diamond Dallas Page.
Oh,
Welcome to WCW in the mid-90s.
Look at that shitty graphic.
Boom.
Oh.
Yes.
DDP doesn't even have his Nirvana theme song yet.
No. And it's
His fake Nirvana
it's a
theme
network overdub that we hear obviously, but yeah,
Mm.
there is no Nirvana at this time. There's nothing. Like I said, this is for DDP. This is a Battle Bowl ring. He won back at Slamboree. It's kind of like a lower mid card title, except it's the ring, similar to the Dynamite Diamond ring in AEW. So there we go. No DQ. Both participants have a taped fist.
Why?
Apparently it's easier to knock out a person with a taped fist. That's the psychology.
If you tape something into it, maybe
like a boxer or like a prize fighter of some sort.
Okay. What is that?
my stress ball.
Oh.
He's Craig Fraser stressing out watching the show or recounting his watching.
I don't know what to make of this match. I mean, you taped up one fist, so all you can do is throw it like a punch, but they're wrestlers, so you need that hand to wrestle with.
And you removed it, and you removed the tape from Duggan about 2 minutes into the match anyway. Like his tape is cut from.
There was no reason for this to be a gimmick match, and at the same time, there's no reason to televise this match.
Or there is a reason for this to be a gimmick match. You can make it a no disqualification match for the Battle Bowl ring. That's it.
Oh, for the Battle Bowl.
Yes. For the Battle Bowl.
Remember when Bobby Boucher came back and the Bird Dogs won the Bourbon Bowl?
Yeah, when Bobby Boucher came back at halftime and the Mud Dogs won the Bourbon Bowl.
What is the
again
on this thing?
This Bourbon Bowl or whatever you call it, Battle Bowl.
Battle Bowl. By God,
it's a pointless gimmick,
the
match is pointless with a pointless gimmick. What the fuck are they doing here?
It's filler. Thing that they were. It was filler. It was their attempt, I think, to have a King of the Ring. Is what it is from back in, because they were the Slamboree pay-per-view and the whole Lethal Lottery concept and that stuff was their King of the Ring. So they anoint somebody from the mid card, give them the ring, and be like, okay, you're the Battle Bowl keeper of the ring for a year.
They have a TV champion.
They do.
And a US champion.
They do.
And a world heavyweight champion.
They do.
And a cruiserweight champion.
Yes.
What the fuck do they need another champion for?
But it's not a championship, it's a ring.
That determines what? It designates what?
That they are the Battle Bowl champion. That's it.
So?
They have a ring.
Means nothing.
In hindsight, this would have been a good opportunity for them to, if you're going to have this kind of a mid-card match and have the Battle Bowl ring that gives you something special, it needs to do something where it's like almost it acted as Money in the Bank before Money in the Bank.
Yes.
Where you could run out with the Battle Bowl ring, cause chaos. Whoever holds the Battle Bowl ring is like when Stone Cold had the pager, and when it comes
would even be better. Yes. They could have a guaranteed title shot against any champion. Yes.
Because if you would have had this at Bash at the Beach for the holder of the Battle Bowl ring, it means a lot, because whoever holds that ring could basically challenge any champion whenever they want to choose, or have some kind of stipulation. Like,
yes,
I think WCW was trying to basically, they were trying to go tat for tat with each stipulation for the pay-per-views as WWF had. Like, well, we have to have something like King of the Ring.
That's right.
We have to have a Survivor Series. Let's call it War Games.
Remember what I was saying in the opening here is we're trying to be WWF, but better. Exactly. That's what WCW is trying to do.
And they have no idea how to beat WWF, but they have no idea how to beat WWF. So to make it better is completely impossible.
Hence, they fall back on mission number 2 is, okay, if we can't be better than WWF, let's try to at least appease our biggest star.
Actually, they found the third way out, which is instead of let's be WWF, let's pretend that the WWF is invading us.
We'll get
That's
to that.
What the NWO.
We'll get to that as the show goes on. Yes,
we sure will.
They have exercise option C at this pay-per-view. Yes, exactly.
Len, let's skip out this match because I don't remember who won and I don't give a shit.
Well, it's 5 minutes and 39 seconds, and Diamond Dallas Page defeats Duggan anyway. So
there you go.
Mm-hmm. What else happened here? It is Mean Gene in the back with Jimmy Hart and the Giant and Kevin Sullivan.
I skipped this.
They've got Benoit and Arn Anderson tonight. Sullivan says it's home court for him while they are in Florida, and Sullivan's kind of a god in Florida. So there we go. Yeah, here's the promo right here. So boom. Giant says Taskmaster is not the weak link of the Dungeon of Doom. It says he is the elite, and I have written down underneath here the elite, DD elite, the elite, DD elite.
Oh, shut up.
So and then we go, and then this is even something rare for WCW pay-per-view. They go to a secondary announcer. No, they go to a secondary announcer with the opposing team. They go to Lee Marshall with Chris Benoit and Arn Anderson, and a stipulation is added. If the Horsemen win, they get a title match the next night on Nitro, where they can anoint a member of the Four Horsemen to take on the Giant for the title. It's a great promo by Arn Anderson here. And then Benoit says he'll leave Sullivan for dead. Moving on. Yes. 4-man dog collar match up next here on the Bash at the Beach pay-per-view spectacular. We have the Public Enemy taking on the Nasty Boys. So Public Enemy is fresh from ECW at this point. They are the former flagship tag team of ECW, and they brought the table gimmick with them and so on and so forth. Taking on the Nasty Boys, who are kind of the forerunners of an extreme look in pro wrestling going forward, and that stuff, at least in the early 90s. Imagine Bebop and Rocksteady from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in tag team form, and that's the Nasty Boys for you. So
imagine Bebop and Rocksteady from Secret of the Ooze.
Yes,
like
exactly.
Not like decent Bebop and Rocksteady from like the cartoon or from like
the bumbling ones, yes,
but the ones where, I mean, literally Secret of the Ooze, fantastic film, really, because it's so
awesome film, classic.
But my favorite.
Wait a minute.
Is when
Isn't Secret of the Ooze with Tokar and Razor?
Yes, but
they're Bebop and Rocksteady.
But they are Bebop and Rocksteady, but they couldn't call them Bebop and Rocksteady
because
they, I don't know why, but they changed the names.
Wasn't it a copyright thing or something? And they had to come up.
What do you mean?
There was some sort of weird.
The studio didn't have the right or something. I can't.
Yeah, remember. There was a different studio that did Secret of the Ooze in the first one. Or...
That was also the same movie where Kevin Nash plays
Super Shredder.
Super Shredder.
Yeah.
Super Shredder. But my favorite part of that Secret of the Ooze is when knockoff Bebop and Rocksteady come alive, and Shredder has, I think, probably one of the greatest lines of dialogue that's ever been written for a character ever in the history of cinema. Which is to him have a bit of a hissy fit attack and go, they're babies. Oh, like get his pants. Oh,
yeah, that scream at the end is stuck with me since childhood. Babies, they're babies, and he makes this weird gargles like.
Beautiful.
You're right.
Rewatch that now.
You're right. That is one of the greatest deliveries of a line ever. That gargle.
That is how the Nasty Boys make us feel.
Yes.
Yeah, so about this match, they go into side-by-side screens on this match so they can take a look at both collared people. That's a weird way to phrase that. Oh, God. Look at that. You've got the stupid graphic up top from the mid-90s that takes up majority of the screen. And
this
then
is stupid how they did this. Yes.
Yeah, and so they've got one camera on two guys, one camera on the other two guys as they're doing this shitty match all over the arena that nobody can see because big screens inside of an event are not a thing yet.
So remember, this is off of a 4x3 signal because that was the standard at the time. WCW also was one of the first sports properties to go digital, actually. So they were in full-on digital 4x3 in 1996. Everybody else is still using the classic beta, like you would be watching home video beta almost, standard definition or whatever. But yeah, the production on this split screen is completely wrong. You're right. What I would do, and this is just a television major and me coming out, is you take the split screens, you make them full resolution to fit the aspect ratio of the frame, but you put the logo right dead center of the mid screen. I almost need a telestrator to explain this. And then don't worry about having the fancy background in the graphic. I know they probably spent a lot of money on getting an actual like ocean background. Like we spent lots of money spending to get, synthwave grid happening behind Craig right now. But, I mean, it doesn't do justice here and that stuff. It'd be like trying to do this podcast and, I don't know, doing it like this. Like, that's stupid. Why would I do it like that?
I don't like it. I look small.
There we go. So right back to that. But you see what I mean? So Craig looked perturbed when I did that. And now he looks amused.
I was actually trying to I was just checking to see if there was more information about Toka or Razor. I didn't. It was more interesting than this match.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But anyways, the Nasty Boys defeat Public Enemy at 11:25 when they clothesline one of the members of Public Enemy and hang the other one over the ropes and get a I think it was a pinfall victory over the one that they clotheslined. So there we go. So that's that. And we can end this bit of The Undertaker because the second half of the show is on a different Undertaker. So we'll send this one to Rest in Peace. And we'll go, Undertaker, to the second bit of the show right there. So there are two Undertakers here because the card is so freaking long. So 14 matches in total. Yikes. Yeah, this is like WrestleMania 6 long. It is match number 10 on the card. Up next, it is a singles match for the WCW Cruiserweight Championship. So the second half of that little...
Wait, did we not discuss how shitty this dog collar match was?
We did.
Like, Craig, I think you were about to go into something.
Oh, yeah, to finish your thought if you had something.
My only point was, I was going to say, is like Public Enemy was coming right out of ECW for this, and it just seemed like WCW, like, yeah, let's get some hardcore wrestling going, except we're not going to do anything hardcore about it. How about we won't have any blood, any dog collar? We're going to have the ECW guys do like a hardcore match, but they're not going to be like ECW wrestlers.
Right.
And you kind of bury them right away because they lose to the Nasty Boys. This match could have been decent if you would have had maybe Public Enemy smash the Nasty Boys to the tables. Probably should have gone over because, Public Enemy was a pretty decent hardcore tag team. And this would have been a great, it's been in a great way, especially since this is their first match in WCW, as you were saying, Kellen, that I think they could have really maybe, because the Nasty Boys were already pretty well established at this point. They were buddies.
They were former WCW tag team champions multiple times by this point. Yeah.
And so like they're a big tag team. Having Public Enemy come and go through them would have set up something
right.
For tag team division.
Exactly.
But they kind of just bury him and make him look kind of silly here, and the match was kind of lame. The dog collar matches, you expect it to almost be like Punk versus MJF that happened in AEW, like that.
Brody Lee versus Cody Rhodes is another good example. AEW, great dog collar match. The ultimate one is Flair and Piper from the first Starrcade in '83, where it's the end. You use it to end the feud. Basically, you use it to end the months long or several months long feud. It's like the next level beyond a steel cage match is a dog collar match.
Yeah, and that's the thing is I think it works so well as one of those hardcore matches that you can go like or shit or somebody do a couple crazy spots, smashing them with the chain, whipping them with the chain, hanging them with the chain, choking them, kind of a deal. And they kind of touched on that a little bit, but like it just seemed like a couple chubby guys getting gassed and walking around with each other with dog collars on, and then it ends, and I'm like, yeah. And one of the collars came off. One of the collars came off in the match, and I was just like, oh, okay,
all right, whatever.
Nope, we're just gonna keep going. I was like, it just seemed like a bit of a mess.
And Dusty's getting to peak Dusty at this point, but it doesn't happen until a few matches later. But yeah, we'll get to that when we get it. I think I got it written down in the notes, but yeah. So 11:25, and I think I said just to go over in my mind, Starrcade A-Free, it was Greg Valentine versus Roddy Piper in that infamous dog collar match. That's a great one. Go check it out if you haven't seen that. So it's a classic from the territory era. Very good. Match number 10 for the WCW Cruiserweight Championship. So like I said, the second half of this little mini eliminator that they're holding, we know that Rey Mysterio is going to Nitro at this point. Who will he face? Will he take on the Disco Inferno, or will he take on the Iceman, Dean Malenko? I hate the Disco Inferno. I've always hated the Disco Inferno, and I hate him even more today because he goes on Twitter and spouts off stupid bullshit. However, we are not judging him for what he spouts on Twitter today. We're looking at this as a pure wrestling card from 1996 type standpoint. And yes, I still hated the Disco Inferno as a kid watching WCW. The gimmick does nothing for me. Disco sucks. There's a reason why they burned a whole bunch of Disco LPs at a baseball game back in the late 70s. DL, he's like, I'm gonna let you hold up. He cooking. Okay, there we go.
I think Todd has something to say.
he looked like he was going to say something, and he's like, no, hold up. He's cooking. Let him cook. So.
Okay. I was gonna say Disco Inferno is just not good Fandango.
No,
Yeah.
no, Fandango does the gimmick better. I think
Way better.
yes,
Him and Breeze, the Fashion Files, that was great.
yes, yeah.
I remember watching some of those bits. Like they're funny because
Yeah.
they're doing comedic characters right. Disco Inferno came out and seemed like, yeah, I'm so cool, and I'm like, you're like douchey Ken Shamrock without any of the fighting skill.
He's trying to be a douchebag John Travolta. The problem is he's coming off looking like a douchebag X-rated porno actor.
It doesn't make sense. Like Disco Inferno, like you're an angry disco dancer. Is that it? Is that your gimmick? Like
Yes,
with like Fandango, like it was like, and even like Adam Rose to an extent.
mm-hmm.
It's like they at least had this sort of like backstory, and like they just embodied this whole character more. It wasn't like I'm just a guy that dances.
Right.
It's like they really put it through with the full character. At no point does he come out there and go like, he doesn't just get in the ring, get on the mic, and be like, "Who's ready to do the hustle?" Like nothing like that, like you don't hear any Bee Gees kick up. You don't hear more than a woman, more than a woman to me.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get any of that. You don't get Bee Gees version of Wonderwall, which would happen at this point.
Is that real? Did you just make that up? Has that happened?
There's a guy on YouTube that did a version of the Bee Gees version of Wonderwall. It's terrific.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
He just comes in with the Barry Gibb. Today was gonna be the day that they're gonna throw it back to you.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, those are two songs I didn't think would mesh together, but there we go.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
So turning to this match, and Dean Malenko, I think one of the top 10 technicians in wrestling all time. The guy is just technically sound, can wrestle circles around people, and just an amazing talent for an undersized athlete and that stuff. And the Iceman gimmick, this is Dean Malenko at his strength here, 96, 97, 98 into 99 WCW. This is his peak here before jumping to the WWF. With Malenko, his matches and that stuff, and especially this one, he's he was basically WCW's version of Taz, where he's just sawed off, the pint-sized monster that will stretch you and will make you tap. That's what they were making him out to be, which is ironic considering that Malenko and Taz had a feud in ECW prior to Malenko going to WCW. So I think that's probably what they were trying to go with Malenko here in any sort of direction for the cruiserweight division, which obviously, as we come to find out in later years, really didn't exist. It was kind of more open-ended than anything else, kind of open for interpretation with the talent, which isn't necessarily a great thing, but
it needed a little bit more focus. It seemed I've never seen a Dean Malenko match before. This was my first Dean Malenko match, and yeah, like I always knew that he was good buddies with Benoit and Guerrero.
Yes,
the three of them were really good, close in WCW.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess I have to watch more matches, but like Malenko seemed better than Benoit, better than Guerrero, almost. Like he was in the ring, like maybe not as flashy as Eddie, and maybe not as like had so many of the kind of the intensity that Benoit had, but like the seamlessness. Like honest, I don't know. Maybe they did have a match. I just don't know myself, but I would have loved to have seen a match between Dean Malenko and Owen Hart. I don't know if there's a match that exists between those two.
Owen Hart Googled that. Hang on.
Owen Hart would have fucked him up.
Well, it's a wrestling match, regardless of who would have fucked up who. Those two guys would have had a match.
Owen Hart is 100 pounds heavier than Dean Malenko and maybe 6 inches taller.
How big was Owen Hart?
He wasn't a cruiserweight.
6'2", I think, was Owen. Owen was 6'2", I think.
6'2", 230 pounds from Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
Oh, and I think the Hart family has said that he was like at during his WWF run, he was a legit 220. So,
Hold on a second.
That's it. Owen Hart.
Hold on a second. Dean Malenko was 5'10", 212.
Okay. Yeah.
5'10", 212.
Yeah.
Why did he always seem so short?
And Owen Hart is 5'10", 227. They're the same height. Owen Hart's about 15 pounds heavier.
Did Owen just have lifts in his boots then? I wondered. I mean,
yeah, why did Dean Malenko seem so short?
Because he had the shooter boots on. That's why. He had the flat ripped shooter boots.
I was gonna say some of those guys do wear like lifted boots, like Triple H.
Yeah.
When I did see Triple H at an event, like I was like 21, and like he's a little bit taller than me, but not by much.
Yeah.
And so they always bill him as 6'4". I'm like, you're 6'2". Like Triple H, you're 6'2". No, you're not 6'4". Like
sadly, Owen Hart and Dean Malenko never matched up. There was never an Owen Hart versus Dean Malenko match. Yeah.
But they would have had a great match.
Well, it would have been fun. Yeah. I would have seen it, or I would have paid to see it. That would have been great.
Oh,
yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Still, Owen Hart would have wrestled circles around Dean Malenko because Dean Malenko has no personality.
That's another thing too, is that Dean Malenko, Dean Malenko's gimmick is he's dry, so and has no gimmick, and it's kind of you can. There's
nothing there. Everything that Taz
there's a dozen of those guys out anywhere in any promotion. That's the thing. Too.
So saying that Dean Malenko is like the WCW Taz is kind of hilarious because
Taz had a personality. Yes,
he has a personality. He could use a microphone and he can emote, and his aggression and anger comes through in his wrestling and through his attitude.
Yeah,
Dean Malenko has none of that. Just like how WCW had none of that.
Mm-hmm. I'm simply saying that it was hilarious because one of the last people that Malenko feuded with in ECW before jumping to WCW was Taz. Yes,
I know, but I'm saying it is funny because WCW was everything that ECW wasn't, because WCW was just a knockoff WWE that had no clue what the fuck they were doing other than trying to make, I don't know, some kind of money, or I don't know. They're just, WCW sucks. Okay.
They weren't.
They didn't know what they were doing.
They weren't even making money at this point. They were in the whole NWO thing that we're about to get into is the turnaround to WCW actually being profitable for a period of time. So
they stumbled upon something that saved their entire company.
That's what it is.
Going under early.
We're building towards that here as the show moves on. But
they were dry, feckless.
This is the waning moments of pre-NWO WCW.
Yes, but as for this match, Disco Inferno blows ass. Like, Disco Inferno sucks. I'm going to take umbrage with what you said about Disco sucking. Okay.
Okay.
Disco doesn't suck. You suck. good sir. You suck.
Okay.
How could you say disco sucks?
Glenn Gilberti, who plays Disco Inferno, sucks, and Disco Inferno sucks. If you take a look at his social media feed, you can find out what.
I know that.
Glenn
I get that.
Gilberti is.
But for you to say disco sucks, I don't know about you. I really don't.
Oh, you mean disco music in general?
Yeah, disco music.
Never been a fan. Yeah. I have an itchy eye.
We're gonna have a talk later.
Okay.
Everyone's a winner, baby. That's the truth. That's the truth.
See? Craig knows what's going on.
Now, is that disco or is that funk? Because funk is different.
That's disco.
That was disco. I think Hot Chocolate was disco.
I love funk.
They bleed into each other like disco and funk. They do.
I love funk music.
Well,
give me some
yes
Bootsy Collins.
Well, like I mean, like a song that I say is really funky, but it's also like extremely disco-y. It would be, get down, get down, get down, get down, get down tonight. Like that's disco-y. That's funky. Mm-hmm. I mean, disco can be funky. Funky has disco-y sounds. I mean, like, you're gonna put on.
There's a major difference. Like James Brown is funk. He is not disco.
Yeah. I would say, yeah.
Earth, Wind, and Fire is funk. They're not disco.
That's right.
But James Brown's also just James Brown. He's just like
that's
his own
funk.
Thing. Maybe it's his own thing though.
But he made all that shit, including rock and roll. Why do you think they screaming rock and roll? Because James Brown did it first. You see how all that shit turned into Slipknot one day?
Yeah, I do.
That's the actual evolution.
Yep. And
that's your Black History Month moment.
Well, now we take it up a few decades in that stuff. We can take everything from the blues man sitting at the crossroads in Louisiana, sweating his balls off in 1930, at the crossroads playing a guitar, and that ultimately has turned into EDM dubstep. So,
what?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, exactly.
All of this has been more
There's
interesting than this pay-per-view.
For you.
All of this has been way more entertaining than this pay-per-view so far.
Oh, I've learned a lot tonight. It's great so far. Awesome. What else happened here? Let's go next to the next thing here.
Let's speed it up. Let's pick it up a little bit. We got to get to the good part. We're wasting too much time on this horse shit. Like, we really got to talk about Mongo McMichael against Joe Gomez? Like,
El Desperado Joe Gomez, the OG El Desperado Joe Gomez. Yes. Not the Joker that's running around New Japan right now. This is the OG. No, we're not going to talk on it too much. Just that this match ran 6:44. It's McMichael's first singles match since joining WCW. He turned on Kevin Green at the previous pay-per-view at the Great American Bash and became a member of the Four Horsemen. And yes, Ty, that's the same Kevin Green that was a former Pittsburgh Steeler and a current NFL player at the time.
We know.
So there we go.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they don't know.
Nobody needs to know. This is a stupid match. It should have never happened. Mongo McMichael should still be in the goddamn power plant learning how to take a back fall.
Yeah, it kind of was a head scratcher to me why this one was on the pay-per-view to begin with. Like, you look at the quality of matches on the pre-show, and I would have easily substituted like Guerrero Rigo for McMichael Gomez.
Because they thought Mongo McMichael had some kind of name value outside of the NFL.
Or maybe it was like, oh, come watch Steve McMichael actually wrestle a singles match on pay-per-view. Ooh, okay. Well, then give them a better opponent, right?
Or teach him how to fucking wrestle.
I completely did not know that he was a wrestler at any point. So when he came out and they said Steve McMichael, I was like the Chicago Bear, Steve McMichael. And then when he came out and he had a shirt on that said 76, I was like, oh, so they're just leaning all the way into this.
His gimmick was the ex-Chicago Bear, Steve Mongo McMichael.
I was waiting for like Mike Singletary to run out and be like, hey, baby! Hey, baby! Be here all night! I like this kind of party.
He We should do one day WrestleMania 2, because then you got the football players versus wrestlers battle royal and that, and you got William Refrigerator Perry in that thing.
Yeah.
You've got
We don't need to do that WrestleMania. It's okay. I'm good.
got Too Tall Jones.
We're good.
Russ Francis, you name it.
We're good. Don't have to do it.
Jimbo Covert.
You can stop now.
You don't have Alex Karras in there though.
No, we don't. All right, backstage. I am calling upon the services of one Craig P Fraser, because it's promo time again. Mr. Fraser, can you please elaborate on what the legendary icon, the Nature Boy Ric Flair, is saying in this promo to Mr. Mean Gene Okerlund right now?
So Gene says to Rick, he's like, "So Rick, tonight you are in a match against who the fuck are you in a match
Conan.
against? You're in a match against Conan for the WCW United States Heavyweight Championship. Yes. What will you do?" And he goes, "Listen to me, Mean Gene. When I go out to the ring, and me, and the women, and Miss Elizabeth, we're out there, all the hundreds of thousands of people. I will put them in the figure 4, and I'll line them up, and I'll send them down back to Charlotte, North Carolina, where I'm from. Woo! And you understand that, Mean Gene? You understand that is, to be the man, you have to beat the man."
Spot on. That's it. That's the promo right there. So we go into the next contest, which is said United States title contest, which is Conan versus Ric Flair for the U.S. heavyweight title.
Shit. Conan looked like Tarzan in that picture.
There we go. There's those mid-90s graphics for y'all.
Damn.
Damn, exactly. So, Conan has one of the most underrated U.S. title runs going on. Yes, beat Luger for the title back in April on Nitro, defended it for a while, beat Pat Tanaka, as Tanaka was wrestling a short-lived WCW run as El Gato. Yes, the cat? The cat. The original cat was not Ernest Miller. It was Pat Tanaka.
Shout out WCW.
El Gato at the Great American Bash, and listening to Dusty do color during that match is a treat. Let me tell you, I rewatched the entire Great American Bash before watching the Bash at the Beach pay-per-view just to know what I was getting into.
You're a sick man and you need help.
I had nothing going on this weekend, so what can I say? I actually had time to kick up and watch some shit, so there you go.
This has now become an intervention. You have a problem, and we're here to help you.
He beat Arn Anderson on Nitro, and he's going after Ric Flair. And he is also another guy who had wrestled the night before in Mexico for AAA, as he was AAA's champion at that time. Had to wrestle the main event spot in their big Mexico City show that they had the night before. So he, Psicosis, and Rey Mysterio all jumped on the same plane and headed over to Daytona Beach right after the show for this show and for the Monday Nitro taping, which took place in Orlando at the Disney MGM Studios, of all places, the night after. So
this match sucked.
Wow. I was just going to say, this match was, I think the runtime on it's 15:36 with Flair, Flair winning the United States Heavyweight Championship. The reason why he wins the championship is just simply because the agreement with Conan to wrestle for WCW had gone to the point where he had fulfilled all the matches on his agreement. So he was heading back to Mexico anyway, and that he had reached his limit for the year. He was going to come back in 97 anyway. So that was it. That was the last night they had him. So obviously he was going to drop the belt on the way out. And Flair has an interesting 96 up until this point. He lost his world title to the Giant, rekindled the rivalry with Randy Savage, and then wrestled Kevin Green and Mongo McMichael at the Bash at the Beach and recruited Steve Mongo McMichael to the Four Horsemen to replace Brian Pillman, who is in ECW at this point.
I'm going to speak my piece. I'm going to ask a question, and then I'm going to use the washroom.
Ooh, okay.
Here's how it's going to go.
Okay.
The question first. What's the match after this?
The match after this is, I believe, the main event. Nope, it's the Dungeon of Doom versus Horseman tag match.
Okay, I fell asleep during that match. I have nothing to contribute. Now, secondly, this match sucked because Ric Flair does the same match every single time. I now understand and I realize it. The only thing that changes, literally, the only thing that changes is the circumstance of what brings the match on. So, if it's for a world heavyweight title against Harley Race, good match.
Yeah.
Right. If it's another, like, what do you call it, a Iron Man kind of match or whatever with Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, great match. If it's a mid-card match against Conan, you get the same shit and it means absolutely nothing and nobody cares.
Okay.
But it's the same match. Ric Flair's going to go to the top and he's going to get thrown off.
See, I thought Flair brought it here. I thought, okay, well, I was going to.
Yeah, but you're comparing that to like a 60-year-old man that like wrestled way too long in Evolution.
There we go. But I mean, like, it's a guy that should be it's a guy that is your stereotypical world heavyweight champion being forced to wrestle for the mid-card belt because it's sad. Not enough room at the top at this point. And he puts on a great match.
And it looks sad. This tanned, flabby man with with white hair trying to take on this cross of Max Moon and K-Dog.
And I know what they were trying to do is they were trying to get K-Dog over, but the thing is that it's K-Dog's last night for some time in the company.
The great words of The Rock, this sucks. I'm going to take a leak.
Okay. Well, he's gone, so we'll remove him. We'll hear from TL later on. But Craig, what did you think of this contest between Flair and Conan?
I thought it was a good match. I think obviously if you're going to compare it to a Flair match against like Harley Race or Dragon Steamboat, then obviously it pales in comparison. It was a little slowish to me. I don't know. Like he has a point where he's like, it doesn't really mean much.
Right.
I mean, I guess some of it's like you didn't get to watch the Nitro or how this match came to be or why this match was happening in the first place. So it's hard to maybe understand that context.
Well, K-Dog basically the month before beat Benoit in a singles match. He beat Arn in a singles match for the U.S. title. So Flair was the last domino, basically. So.
Okay. So that makes sense. That makes a little bit more sense now and why that match is happening. But like, I don't know. I would say that it was a decent match. I mean, it's you're hoping that it's going to pick up after this to get to the end. Hopefully, like if I was live and watching this, I'd be
it kind of sags a little bit here, and you can tell that the live house is kind of sagging a little bit too. It's kind of like, because don't forget, up until this point, there is nothing to say that this show is a timeless show or will be a classic show that we'll be talking about years or decades on up until this point. This just seems like typical WCW. This is what they do.
Yeah, WCW shenanigans. It seems that the one thing I can't not think about is this is all happening. These are the matches that are booked, and this is around the same time that Eric Bischoff looked at a certain wrestler by the name of Steve Austin and said, "You're not good enough to be here in WCW."
Yeah. Well, Austin is crowned the King of the Ring the month before in WWF.
Oh, so he's just done the Austin 316 says, "I just whipped your ass."
That was weeks before the Great American Bash, I think, happens in June.
Man,
just maybe like a week or two. That's it.
So Bischoff hasn't really shown up at all at this pay-per-view so far, but he's
and he doesn't. Spoiler alert: you don't see Eric Bischoff at all on this show. No.
Yeah, Bischoff doesn't show up, but I guarantee you he's watching reruns of that promo that Austin cut. Like, oh fuck, did I fuck up?
Yeah.
Did I just give away a giant star?
Yeah. At this point, it's like, but then you're also trying to smack talk him too at the same time and say, well, he's just got a black vest, black boots, black trunks. That's not going to do anything. What's he got, right?
Oh, yeah. But I guess he's already been going on his tear because Austin won, was it WrestleMania? It was 1997 that he beat Shawn Michaels?
No, 97 is when him and Bret Hart have the submission match at Mania 13. which is one of the most classic matches ever. 96, Bret Hart and Steve Austin have a very, it's one of the WWF's most underrated matches at Survivor Series 96 at MSG, which is Bret Hart's return match. And it's just a straight one-on-one contest between Bret Hart and Steve Austin, which is, like I said, it's a very underrated match because it pales in comparison to what happens at Mania just a few months later. But it's kind of a forgotten classic that everybody loves to find out and to see, right? So that's, you know, one of them for sure. Yeah. So, but further to your point, yeah, Austin started his ascendancy at this point. Yeah. And there's virtually nobody, there's nothing happening right now in WCW that they don't have really a young star that they're trying to push. I mean, they're kind of pushing Benoit a little bit here, but it's not, you know, to the point of, you know, we're going to give him a world title shot anytime soon or whatever. He's just, we have him on a tear with the Horsemen as just being this young, you know, rookie, whatever at this point, but that's, or not even rookie, just this young, whatever at this point. And that's it. So that's it. You know what? We got a break here. I've noticed some comments here. So no, never mind. the comments are, that's spam.
Spam comments.
Spam comments. So
we could go into the match that Tyler did not care about at all, which was the Giant and the Task.
Welcome back, by the way.
Oh yeah, while I was in there, I got something really important I needed for this match.
You want to clean up our comment section too while you're at it.
Oh, might as well. Oh, hello, Stone Cold is just gonna wipe up a lot of the number 2 that was left behind by this goddamn pay-per-view.
Well, that's very nice of you to do it, considering you did pick this show. But anyway,
we didn't get to the good parts yet. All I know is I fell asleep during this tag team match. I really fell asleep during this match. I don't know what happened to this day.
Okay, so we'll touch on it fairly quickly. But before we get there, there is another Mean Gene Okerlund segment, and every time I see an announcer in front of a locked door, we got a flashback to our SummerSlam 92 review, which you can watch here on the channel. And we got to get Mr. Craig P. Fraser to do, not Mean Gene, but Lord Alfred Hayes, outside of the Outsiders dressing room. Take it away, Craig P. Fraser.
Well, he would be like, oh, right, so I've been here in front of the restricted locker room access, and I can hear voices inside, and I'm not mistaken, but there's a considerably familiar baritone voice that's echoing, cascading through the crack in the door, and I can only subject who the third man in the Outsiders is. And I do believe, yes, I do believe that the third man might be Bruno Sammartino, but I cannot be sure.
And like, just so you know, there, Sir Alfred Hayes, there, that Bruno Sammartino, you know, around this time would have been around 65.
I am very well aware that Bruno Sammartino would not have been at adequate wrestling age, and as a matter of fact, his physical performance might have dwindled had he been involved. But I cannot stop but help but wonder who is behind that door as the third man. Could it indeed? Could it be, in fact, Andre the Giant?
Actually, Andre the Giant has died 3 years before this in 1993. It's probably not Andre the Giant,
but it might be the ghost of Andre the Giant. he might be
the ghost of Andre
haunting this arena here in Daytona Beach, Florida. These Americans with their terrible city names. Anyways, that is all for me and Lord Alfred Hayes interviewing. But wait, no. There might be one more voice that it could be. It is, I'm getting a glistening of light coming through the crack of the door. Could be ricocheting off. Perhaps a piece of headwear that the third man might be wearing. Is that it could be, this might be the Shock Master. Could he be the third man for the outside?
Now I just sound like the guy from 300. That's like,
Brave King Leonidas lead his freedom against the Persian hordes.
Well, it was well done to begin with, so there we go. That was the segment. So
I gotta give you an applause because that could have easily have been a segue into Jesse the Body Ventura, and you chose not to. And I applaud your effort.
well, it's the whole
you
thing.
tell me why I didn't go into Jesse Ventura. You're such a patriot.
The whole thing. I was just, that's the gimmick now. Is if there's an announcer in front of a locked door, I will get him to do Lord Alfred Hayes from SummerSlam '92, but in that situation. So there we go.
Because why was he back there? Was he listening into the Outsiders, or was he listening for Eric Bischoff?
He was listening for the Outsiders. He was trying to figure out who the third man was.
Oh, right.
Because the third man, there was 3 voices. He made out 2 of the voices being Hall and Nash, but he couldn't tell who the third voice was.
But Tony Schiavone, the third voice behind there, is something familiar, but I just can't put my finger on it behind this restricted area.
I've
behind the door you just heard
restricted.
This area is restricted.
Restricted area. Yes. So the next contest, this is mistreatment of your world champion, but anyway, here we go. It's a tag match where we got the Giant and the Taskmaster with Jimmy Hart taking on Arn Anderson and Chris Benoit. Like I said, if the Horsemen win, one of the Horsemen get a title match the next night on Monday Nitro. This thing runs 15 minutes and 39 seconds. Or sorry, that was the last match. This thing runs 8 minutes right on the dot. And everything I totally said about a title match for the Horsemen, forget about it, because the Dungeon of Doom get the victory in the contest. And it's basically more Benoit and Taskmaster fighting the hell out of each other. And post-match, there's a big brawl, and they rip apart the set a little bit and that stuff. And that's it. And it's basically just I'll say it. It's a throwaway whatever. I think it probably meant more for storylines at the time, or they thought it was at least, because you get the whole thing storyline with woman trying to call Benoit off a Taskmaster at the end of the thing, and stuff kind of playing off of that history. So, and yes, it's kind of creepy, but we're starting to get into that era of WCW where that's the next level of the Taskmaster Benoit feud, is woman gets involved. And in the next few weeks, it's revealed on WCW TV that, hey, Nancy Benoit used to be married to Kevin Sullivan, but now she's involved with Chris Benoit. We can't hear you.
I'm not saying anything.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry. I had a bit in my head and I didn't explain it. I said for this whole segment, I was just going to lay out like Bob Dylan on We Are the World.
Oh, okay. You're just laying out. And that's it. So I'll talk to Fraser. Yeah, this thing was it just felt like a television main event from one of their TV shows. There was nothing special here.
Yeah, I don't think this was a match for your world champion to be in. I think it's a mistreatment of your champion. This is your top guy. Mm-hmm. He's in a weird tag match. Like, if anything, have the Giant be ringside and be like watching this with like 2 guys with him, like the Dungeon of Doom, like Arn. First of all, I just want to say, Arn Anderson, every time I hear his name, I just think of the movie Hot Fuzz. And Hot Fuzz, when at the end when he meet the kid and he's like, "What's your name?" And he's like, "Arn Aarons." And he's like, "What?" Arn Anderson. I'm like, "What?"
Arn Aarons.
Arn Anderson.
Anytime I think of Arn Anderson,
I'm Louis Anderson.
Louis Anderson. Anytime I hear Arn Anderson, I now think of that Glock promo.
Oh, yeah, from AEW. The gun. The Glock promo.
Someone takes your car, Cody. They jerk the door open and they say, "Get out, we're taking this car." And you say, "Okay, take whatever you want. Just don't hurt me." Meanwhile, they do that to me. That's where I reach for the Glock, put it on his forehead, and spill his brains all over the concrete. That's a real AEW promo, he said.
Good job, Arn Anderson. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, the Glock. Yeah, there he is.
That's
Arn
it.
Anderson with the
Yep.
Glock.
Glock Anderson. Yep.
Glock Anderson, baby.
I just don't think that this was a very good match. And
Like I said,
I mean, if they wanted to lull before the main event,
they got it.
they got it.
They
So,
certainly got it.
yeah, not really impressed.
I leave the segment with yeah, there we go.
There's my Glock.
There's
Oh,
your
man.
Glock right there. Boom. The magic of the internet and Google search, everybody. So there we go.
Very good.
Well, it's about that time. We get to a the main event, what they call the hostile takeover match. In essence, it's a 6-man tag team contest. On one side, you have the outsiders, so Hall and Nash, taking on the WCW team of Macho Man Savage, Lex Luger, and Sting. The outsiders have a mystery man that they haven't named. And yeah, it becomes pro wrestling's most famous or infamous. Well, it was for a while pro wrestling's most famous or infamous moment in the 1990s until the Montreal Screwjob happened. I guess you can debate 1A or 1B. What is bigger in the pop culture reference? That's a good poll question. What's huge? Or what's bigger? The Hogan heel turn that's upcoming here, or the Montreal Screwjob?
That's a hell of a
97?
question. That's a hell of a question.
What's bigger? I don't know. I can't. I'm sitting at both, and I'm like, man, both are just nuclear A-bombs being dropped on the wrestling industry at the same time.
But that's exactly why wrestling was the biggest thing going in this portion of life. Because those two things happening 1 year after the other, that's crazy.
Yep.
Could you pull that graphic back up for this match again, just quickly?
Certainly
Just
can.
wanted to
Yeah.
point something out that I was laughing at. In this graphic, it just looks like Scott Hall is like, I'm the one wrestling next. Like, he's like, I'm the one that's gonna fight. I don't know. He looks like he's complaining.
Yeah.
Well,
Hall
look at
with the full
fucking
denim
Nash. How is that intimidating at all?
Nash looks like Adam Cole.
He's like,
Yeah,
"My
he
God,
does. And he looks just as intimidating as Adam Cole.
baby."
And that's it. And I should
And
say,
then Macho Man's like, hi.
he looks like a
I'm
Muppet.
the Macho Man, Randy Savage.
And look at that haircut on Sting. Good Lord. Does
Yeah.
that not work with that face paint?
No,
He's
it
like-
didn't.
He looks like he's like a Jack newscaster. He's just like,
Yeah.
It does.
tonight at 6 o'clock, I'm gonna rip you a new asshole.
And Marsha will be by with the weather.
Yeah. What a horrible graphic that was.
Yeah. Well, kudos to the WWE match graphics Reddit that exists. That's where I get all the match graphics for these reviews and that stuff. So people just take screen caps from various videos and that stuff. Because especially with these early to mid 90s pay-per-views, not all of these pay-per-views matches had graphics for them. They would just happen. They would just, you'd hype them and that's it. We really started to see match graphics in about this time, mid 96 on, is when they started to do match graphics with everything. So it's amazing to see how they
Here's my
evolved.
question. In this match that we're about to get dissect, is there anything worth like mentioning about the match itself until Hogan comes out?
There's
Anything.
one thing I'm going to hit on right away, and it's
Is it Luger?
It's Luger getting knocked out. Yes,
There, you
and-
just said it. We covered it.
and the fact that is the catalyst for Crow Sting.
Yeah,
It is.
we know.
So
He
fast
had to do
forward a few
something about that
months.
haircut.
Yeah, fast forward a few months. WCW's got to fight the NWO in a War Games match. They're parading around a fake Sting, they being the NWO, and the there's questions amongst people, including Luger, about Sting's loyalty to WCW. That goes back to that moment where Luger gets knocked out by Sting when he's going for the Stinger splash in the corner on Nash, but Nash either pulls Luger or they're tied up and Sting just goes in for it anyway, that sort of thing. So
even in written storyline, Lex Luger's a moron.
Yeah. but Luger gets dispatched early here and that stuff, and it becomes a 2-on-2 essentially. So it's the Outsiders versus Sting and Savage in that tag match.
Mm-hmm.
Until Hulk Hogan makes his appearance.
While Macho Man is downed.
Yes. Nash nails Savage with a low blow, and so both men are down at that point in the ring. And Hogan makes his reemergence. And like I said, this is the first time we had seen Hulk Hogan on WCW TV since, the uncensored whole schmoz that I talked about at the beginning of the show.
Meanwhile, he's making such classic movies as Santa with Muscles, Mr. Nanny, and other such crap.
Thunder in Paradise as well, I think was the name of the TV show he was on.
There you go.
There you go. So he's busy being the actor Hulk Hogan during that run.
That nobody watches.
Goes back to WCW, and it's while they're and a few weeks prior, the third man had been listed as Sting. So it was going to be Hall, Nash, and Sting as the NWO.
So stupid.
Bischoff goes to visit Hogan. This is behind the scenes stuff. Bischoff goes to visit Hogan on set in Los Angeles and basically says, "Hey, we got this thing going on. This is an outside. This is Bischoff planting an outside thought of, okay, I got Sting, but what if I could get Hogan to turn? It would be something that nobody will have expected at all." And so they meet down, and Hogan says the infamous words to Bischoff, "I know who the third man is. I think it should be me, brother."
The fact that they even thought of Sting in the first place is so stupid.
They were thinking Sting because he was the franchise guy up until that point.
The point of the NWO was that the WWF was invading them. Why the hell would Sting be the third man? Luger could have been the third man because he just came out of WWF.
Exactly. Yeah. And he had teased being, he was healed for a little bit.
Macho Man could have been the third man because he had his whole career basically in the WWF.
WWF, yeah. He was a WWF guy too, yeah. Yeah.
Hulk Hogan is the ultimate WWF guy. Why the hell out of all those choices would he be the guy that's never worked for the WWF being Sting?
The simple thought, he's the franchise guy at WCW. Nobody would have seen the franchise guy turning on his company.
Fuck, that's so stupid. Bischoff's a moron. He just stumbled
Remember,
into
this is the mid-90s. Like, there's franchise guys in sports.
Stop using that as an excuse!
No, I'm saying, no, it's the mid-90s. The franchise guys nowadays, they'll turn their back for more money. Anyway, it's commonplace in any sport.
I'm with Kellen on this one. Like, I can see why, if it would have been Sting, that it could have worked because it would have been a real big shock. I mean, I think Hogan ultimately was the biggest shock. I think they did the right thing, Hogan over Sting. But like, had it been Sting, like, because I think he was the franchise guys. He was always the WCW. He would be. Why would he join the guys from WWF? Oh, but he's secretly mad that he hasn't been getting the opportunities in WCW. You know, like all this crap that the heel turn could be. Like, I mean, even have to admit, like if Ryan Smith walked out before an Oilers game and like a Battle of Alberta game, he walked out in his '94 sweater. And for whatever reason, cut a wrestling promo and took the Oilers sweater off and threw it on the ice. And he was wearing a Flames 94 Smith jersey and was like, "I'm from Banff, Alberta, and Edmonton's a bunch of crap." Everybody would be like, "Not Smitty, not Smitty."
First of all, I've been waiting all my life for the NHL to turn into the WWE. I would have popped so huge if that ever happened. They're giving Ryan Smith a mic? Holy shit! I've waited all my life to see that happen. So that
they kind of do it post games at some hockey, like the Oilers.
Except hockey players have no personality.
Yeah, they don't. They just
None.
They get up. Well, it was nice to have a great game. I got a couple of goals, and I think our goalie.
They're
really
hypnotized
good.
robots. They
Yeah.
do the same shit every single interview that they do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you, Ty. I'd love to see a guy just walk out there and say, "Yeah,
Let
my
me tell you
balls are bigger than
something.
everybody else's. They're awesome, and I'm great."
Let me tell you something, Mean Gene Principe.
Yeah.
What did we get out there, brother? I want someone to drop one of those after the first period.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
So,
there's already a professional sport that is now becoming more like the WWE, and its name is the UFC. So there you go.
Love you.
well, they're owned by the same parent corp, so there we go.
Yeah, yes, they are.
Yes, and the current
But also,
WWE is in
what
hot water,
reason
as it
would
should, so.
Sting have to turn on the WCW?
That's just
What
it.
reason would Sting have?
He come
Yeah,
up with- he's
that's
just-
the other thing too.
He's
Is
unsatisfied with what he was getting in WCW.
Yeah.
And decided, screw it, I'm going with the other guys.
you would have, but that's one thing, Craig, that I'll side with TL here with this is you'd have to really overcook something with Sting to get it to believable at that point. With Hogan, you saw all the BS that Hogan was trying to pull over top of fans and that stuff months prior. Hell, with the uncensored cage match that I was talking about and that stuff, fans were openly booing the presentation of that match while it was going on, and rightfully so.
Yeah. Well,
Rightfully
no,
so.
Hogan was ultimately the best decision. I know that.
Yeah.
I was just saying.
And he killed it
you
with
could-
that promo.
Had
Billionaire Ted, promise me movies, brother.
Yeah.
That whole
Yeah.
thing, that was
Well,
nuts.
Ultimately, it leads to this moment: the turn heard round the world, the leg drop heard round the world, as Hogan fans will partake and tell you to this day, and that stuff. It's the Hulkster dropping the leg once again on the Macho Man of all people. Again, Savage Hogan, I guess, playing off that rivalry too. But there it is, and the entire crowd just standing in awe over what that happened, and then the promo afterwards too. I think the funniest bit of this whole deal to me is this is what the ring looked like at the beginning of the promo, and this is what the ring looked like after the promo, i.e., insert your trash here in the ring.
The South has class.
That ring filled up with garbage, like legit. Like we're talking end of night free at Woodstock type style of garbage fill up here.
Well, I mean, there's your heat.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like you wanted those people. Like I can't have imagined. Like, I mean, obviously in hindsight, like I started watching wrestling even a couple years like a year or two after this. So
Yeah.
Hogan had already done this. So I never saw Hogan as a hero in the 80s and the early 90s, and I never saw the heel turn. But like going back to it, up to this point, you only ever saw Hogan in the red and yellow and the I'm a real American.
Yeah. The American dude.
You're the 4 tenets of Hulkamania, brother. Train, eat your prayers, say your prayers, vitamins, and believe in yourself, brother.
Eat your prayers.
Eat your prayers.
Eat your prayers.
Say your vitamins.
Yeah.
But like, the 4 commandments of Hulkamania, like he
Yeah.
was the Cena before Cena.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that would be like, it honestly would have been like, let's say Cody Rhodes wins the title at WrestleMania and Cena comes out, gives them the big congratulations, does the attitude adjustment, hits him with it, and then grabs the mic. Mr. The ultimate Make-A-Wish guy, the ultimate good guy, John Cena, grabs the mic and just starts going, I'm so glad I'm not in this piece of crap company anymore. I'd be like, it would be the same kind of like, people would be like, whoa, what? Heel Cena? Finally, we're getting heel Cena. As
Free words. Fuck your
Yeah.
kids.
Nice.
I never cared about the Make-A-Wish.
Yeah.
You should all give
Bruh.
up a joke.
That just, what if Cena went to AEW and did this?
Just walked in and just said, fuck your kids.
No, like the third man turns out to be John Cena and he turns heel? Billionaire Khan, promise me movies, brother. All that shit.
I was in the Marine and it was not good.
Yeah.
But the thing,
Basically.
the Cena went the Rock route though, where he's like, he is doing Hollywood stuff. He
Mhm.
probably wouldn't work as well because it's like You still make a lot of money from WWE, Cena. Like his t-shirts and stuff still sell, so it probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
Like I agree. Like if it happened, like it would be great, but I don't think he has the incentive to go do that now because he's killing it.
I know, but I'm just saying this would be the modern day equivalent as if
they
made it look like the WWE was invading AEW and they made a new NWO. John Cena would be the guy.
Yes.
You have like imagine
like,
you would have like Bryan Danielson, John Moxley, and then Cena comes out as the third guy.
Yeah, Cena's your third guy.
Yeah. Cena, Danielson.
Yeah. There you go.
Too sweet. Like that.
Exactly. And then you could recruit, and then you recruit maybe even a couple more. You don't want to get it to the point where this NWO had where like everybody and their dogs
in the
NWO. And the NWO,
well, the thing was, everybody that
joined the 5 NWO, guys, and that's it.
But for the most part, NWO were guys that all worked for the WWF at one point. That's why you had $1 Million Man and Virgil and X-Pac and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, it's when they started giving them the T-shirts to like Scott Norton and Buff Bagwell and Buff
is all right.
Guys who were lifers in WCW that just happened to be like Big Bubba even got it too.
Stevie Ray,
yeah. It's like that's a little much.
Basically, when they had to divide the NWO into the cool section, the bad guy section, and the lower tier section, it was like, we've gone too far.
The B Team, Hollywood, and Wolfpack.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm just saying it would be cool because then Cena could win the AEW World Championship. And then who's the Sting figure for AEW? I would think it would be MJF.
I would think so. Somebody like that right now. Yeah. It would need somebody who's a lifer with them.
MJF. Yo, what if it the cool part is that they would still have
Darby,
Sting.
Maybe.
Darby.
Yeah.
No, but the funny part is that they would still have Sting for this, and Tony Schiavone could have his like Vietnam moments watching it all unfold one more time.
Folks, I've been through this before. I'm not sure if I could do it again.
Yeah, exactly.
Sting's just
heart attack on air.
Sting is just on commentary sitting next to him. He's like, I'm right here, Tony.
I'm
retired. I'm retired from wrestling now.
Yeah. And there you go, Tony Khan. We just booked your next 12 months of TV right there.
Yeah, the new NWO with all your WWE signees turning into a faction to take down your own company.
Just take down your own company. Yep. Yeah, that's that. But yeah, so this is a huge seminal moment. Like I said, this and the screw job are 1990s wrestling right here.
Yeah,
those two moments.
Mm-hmm.
That's that. And I mean, this became the New World Order. This became Hall and Nash as the outsiders, and Hollywood Hulk Hogan later on, doing the thing. I
have a question for you because you're the fact man.
Mm-hmm.
Fact man. Sorry.
Fact. Well,
fact man.
I was the fat man, but I've dropped some weight, so now I'm good. So
yeah, exactly. Now I am the fat man. Anyways, being the fact man, Hulk Hogan throughout the promo couldn't figure out if they were going to be called the New World Order of Wrestling or the New World Organization of Wrestling. Did they know what the name was going into this, or did the name become what it out of the end of the promo?
They did. So the popular lore around this, and Bischoff has confirmed this on his podcast and in a couple of shoot interviews and that stuff and whatever, is they're ripping off the New World Order thing because Hall and Nash came up with that name, and they wanted to do that as a nod to the conspiracy stuff from George W. Bush, basically, or not George W. Bush, but George H.W. Bush, I should say, the OG George Bush
Senior, Bush Senior,
Bush Senior. When he was president, he had talked about the New World Order, or a New World Order. I think was talking about with peacekeeping and that stuff. And conspiracy theorists took that ball and ran with it, saying, "No, it's a New World Order of elites going, making life miserable for the rest of the planet or something," right? So
George H.W. Bush actually hatched a plan with
Thank you, Governor.
Involved secret meetings where they would drink adrenochrome from baby pigs that they slaughtered. These baby pigs were the children of Stromboli.
Yeah. So they decided to go New World Order. When Hogan cut the promo initially and said New World Organization of Wrestling, that was basically just a botch. That's what it was. because live TV and Hogan, not necessarily the best match, because we're talking about a guy who, most of his run in the WWF was all pre-taped, right? So
yes, it was. That's right.
Yeah. So
that's why he kept switching back and forth between calling it the New World Organization of Wrestling Brother and calling it the New World Order of Wrestling Brother.
That's right.
Because he couldn't get it straight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so there was probably times during that, because they're filling time at the end of the pay-per-view, where they want him to, I don't know, mention that a few times, so they have a few different takes to use in video packages going forward to hype the NWO.
I have a question for y'all. What's your favorite moment in this entire segment here, of this whole segment?
Watching the trash fill up in the ring. It's just like, that crowd is hot.
Mine is
that
close.
Crowd is just absolutely hot. And like I said,
when
the
the
trash
fat
level
guy
in that ring just
when the fat guy jumps the rail and Scott Hall has to kick him out of it.
Right.
That's my favorite part.
Yeah. Yeah. The guy jumping the rail,
and Scott Hall has to give him the boots to keep him out of the ring, and so before security can take him away. That was my favorite part.
That's peak WCW right there. It's your marquee moment, and you got a fan rushing the ring.
What did that fan think he was gonna do?
It's two figs. It's Florida, and he's probably drunk. So nothing, but
in his mind, he thought, I'm going to take this guy on. You can't take my WCW from me. I need to do something.
The WCW was his Fifth Amendment.
Yeah.
It's still real to me, damn it.
Yep.
Out of my cold, dead hands are you taking my WCW?
Exactly. And he jumped the rail. He felt that it needed to be done in that moment. Yeah.
I like, my favorite moment is the fact that we see the beginning of the Hulk Hogan heel voice.
Yes.
Because at this point he just decided to make his voice even hoarser and even more throatier.
Yeah.
Because
he had glass Hogan in his voice.
Yeah. Face Hogan was like, let me tell you something, brother. If the 24-inch pythons run wild on you, and this heel Hogan now is like, I want all these fans to know that they can shut the hell up. I was just like, oh God.
Yeah. He sounded like Bruce Springsteen in We Are the World.
You can just call me Woody because I'm just too sweet.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, you're right though. That extra growl and grit that he put in his voice as a heel, that was cool.
Yeah.
That was a good choice.
Yeah. It's a pivotal moment. And Mean Gene, just an absolute rock star during the segment.
Hulk Hogan, what do you think you're doing?
You piece of shit.
Yes. Just the vigor of the upset neighbor next door. Just walking in.
I will not stand for this.
Yes, exactly. The most happy Gene Okerlund and irate Gene Okerlund are pretty much the same, I notice. But the thing is that irate Gene Okerlund just gets shit done. He's just like, damn it, I won't stand for this.
I won't stand for this. You're going to stand here with these men. We demand an explanation about what's going on.
An explanation. Oh man, yes sir. So the ring fills up with trash. Tony sounds like somebody shot his dog, and they go back.
That's what I was going to talk about. I hated his delivery of that. He's like, Hulk Hogan, you can go to hell. Straight to hell.
Yeah.
I don't know, Brain. I just don't know. I hate that call. It's so stupid. Just the plain delivery of Hulk Hogan, you can go to hell.
Well,
straight to hell.
I found a neat little article. I'll quickly share. It's called it's off of the sportster.com, and it's 15 things fans should know about Bash at the Beach 1996 here, and I'll just read the list that they got here off of that. So we already touched on number 15, which was Bischoff wasn't sure about Hogan agreeing to plans, which we talked about. That's what's the whole Sting thing and whatever. Number 14 was the WCW hotline did record numbers before the show. So they had a 1-800 hotline, or 1-900 hotline, I should say. And so people were calling it, trying to find out more on who the third man could be. And they were speculating on people that had a WWF tie, that weren't involved in the company and that stuff, and whatever. Unfortunately, it seems like nobody saved these old tapes of the hotline, because you'd phone them up and be a pre-recorded message of stuff, and then that's it. I would love to hear what the recorded message was that day and who they were hyping, because you know that they were probably trolling by saying, yes, Mean Gene here. I think I know that the third person for the NWO is the Sheiky Baby, you know, or something, something along those lines. Just trolling people, right? Just, you know, or somebody that just...
Our lines are flooded with listeners that have messages for you.
So number 13 on this list was the tag team match was bumped to the pre-show. We talked about that. That was the tag team title match between Harlem Heat and the Steiners. Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 12, Joe Gomez has his only pay-per-view singles match. We talked about that. 11, the double dog collar match stipulation.
Nah.
Number 10, Hulk Hogan was upset at Bobby Heenan's commentary.
Why?
When Hogan walks out, especially on the network version.
Oh, he gave it away too much. Yeah.
Well, whose side is he on?
Yeah. He gave it away too much. He did. He really did.
Yeah, but whose side is he on?
Yeah. Here comes Hulk Hogan. He's going to defend WCW. But whose side is he on? Mm-hmm. Yeah, he kind of spoiled it there.
Yep.
Okay, I could see Hogan being mad at that. All right.
Tony Schiavone does save it a little bit by saying, "Oh, come on, Brain. Of course you know whose side he's on. He's on our side. What's, you know?"
He had no choice to save that one.
Yeah. Number 9, Conan had the longest U.S. title reign of the Monday Night Wars era. Yeah, that's what we talked about. Number 8, WCW champion was in a tag match. Talked about that. Number 7, opening match was the top 10 all-time WCW match. Well, that's in the opinion of the Sportster. It might not be yours, whatever. So, nah. Number 6, WCW employees were celebrating after the show ended.
Yeah, I would have.
Because, they
hit it up the park.
They have the hot angle now in wrestling.
Yeah.
Well, while you were indisposed earlier in the show, Fraser and I sat down, and Fraser asked basically, what was the WWF doing at that time? Well, WWF had just concluded King of the Ring and were pushing Steve Austin.
Oh.
So that was the hot thing happening, was Austin 316 had just happened. Yeah. Now, in hindsight, Austin 316 or the NWO? What's heavier at this point? Or should I say Austin 316 or holy shit, Hulk Hogan just turned heel?
What?
Yeah. Well said. Well said.
Yeah. Number 5, Hulk Hogan made his first WCW appearance in months. We talked about that. Number 4, they have Kevin Nash hitting the fan entering the ring. It was Scott Hall.
Yeah, it was Scott Hall.
Yeah, it was Scott Hall that nailed him. Yeah. So
losers.
Yeah. Diamond Dallas Page won a rare taped fist match. That was number 3 on their list. Number 2, top 5 WCW show ever on Cage Match. Yes. So you go to cagematch.com, which is that website that ranks all the pay-per-views and wrestling cards that have ever been. Out of 10.
Tony Khan's favorite.
And this is a 8.1. which out of 10, which puts it as the 4th best cage match review WCW pay-per-view of all time.
And that's why Cage Match sucks.
And then number 1, Eric Bischoff tried to make it a bigger annual pay-per-view. Well, in later years, yes, he did, because don't forget, a couple years later, this is the pay-per-view where Rodman and Malone show up and wrestle.
Oh my God.
This is also the pay-per-view. They tried to make it like they're one of their big 4 on a year. So that's it. So that's the top 15 right there. But yeah, so there's a couple more extra things that we hit on, and that stuff out of it was.
I'm glad you told me that, only because it just proves that cagematch.com or whatever they're full of shit and they don't know anything and they're
Right.
complete fucking morons.
It's
And they're
subjective.
the ones. Well, they're the ones that inflate Tony Khan's ego. And yeah, now I see where they're coming from. They're full of shit.
It's completely subjective, much like what we're going to do here, which is our ranking of the show out of 10, which is completely subjective to us. So, Mr.TL, go ahead and give us your ranking of Bash at the Beach 1996 as a whole.
I'm going to do it. I'll do it the classic way, and I'll do it my way, which is the new way.
The New World Order way?
Oh, yeah. New World Order way, baby. The classic way, this gets a 3 out of 10.
Okay.
Sorry. 5 out of 10. My bad.
Okay.
5 out of 10. 5 out of 10.
I'm fixing. I will fix.
It is a 5 out of 10, only because it is one of the most pivotal moments that ever happened in wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we watched it, and it exists, and it's there. That's all the 5 points. Mm-hmm. If it did not happen, if the NWO turn with Hogan did not happen, this is a 1 out of 10 type of pay-per-view.
Okay.
Now, in the new way of reviewing things, I give this one half a roll of toilet paper out of a whole roll of toilet paper.
Okay, so again, 5 out of 10.
Yeah, exactly. It's halfway shit, is what I'm trying to tell you.
Yes. But man, that ending.
Man, that ending cleaned up real nice.
that ending is relief. Really fun. Fraser, what are you giving the pay-per-view out of 10?
I give the same score, 5 out of 10.
Okay.
There was some decent, I didn't mind the Flair match. The Mysterio match was good.
Yep.
There were some bright spots on this match, but I mean, it was just you have a great start, kind of a good semi-main, and then you have a decent main because of what happened with the heel turn and the beginning of the NWO. Yep. Other than that,
see, toilet paper. It's a great thing.
My ranking out of 10 is, again, much like your guys, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. Because having sat down and watched the pay-per-view prior to this pay-per-view, the Great American Bash, I felt the Great American Bash had a better match load and had better quality matches than Bash at the Beach. But yeah, the Mysterio Psychosis match is awesome. And the ending, of course, is you're watching it and it's like the same feeling you get watching a historic piece of film like the Zapruder film or the Kennedy assassination, or it's a very where were you when
slow your roll
type moment. So
the assassination
back and to the left.
You could have said,
to the left.
you could have said the moon landing or something.
Well, maybe whatever.
No. Listen. There's the moon landing in TV events history, according to Kellen. There's the moon landing, the Berlin Wall, 9/11, NWO, and then the Kennedy assassination.
Yeah, why not? I mean, I wasn't alive for the Kennedy assassination. I wasn't alive for the moon landing either.
And then after that was Live Aid.
Yeah.
Freddie Mercury going, hey, oh, hey, oh.
Hey, oh. Hey, oh.
And then under that is Michael Jackson doing the moonwalk for the first time on Motown 25.
Nah, the birth of MTV, man. That's birth of MTV was a bigger moment.
No, it was not. No, it very wasn't.
No, it
very wasn't. No, it was not.
It was.
Dude, Michael Jackson did the moonwalk and the world has never been the same.
MTV
literally
in the world was never the same.
Bullshit. MTV didn't catch on until Billie Jean.
Without music videos, there is no 1980s Michael Jackson.
No, bullshit. Absolute bullshit. There is no MTV without the Billie Jean music video. MTV was floundering until that music video came out. And then Michael Jackson did the moonwalk, and then people started to watch the music video on MTV. He saved that company.
It seems like we're arguing chicken or egg. What came?
No, we're not.
Yes, we are.
We are arguing fact or fiction, and also the fact that we all did 5 out of 10, and we never agree on this shit, should tell you that this is a 5 out of 10 pay-per-view. So it's not subjective. This is a half shitty pay-per-view with only a good ending.
But you got your answer you were looking for.
Which was?
Which was when you and this was historic because last pay-per-view you named the pay-per-view you were going to pick.
I did.
Which is the first time ever any of us had did that in canon of the show. And you said, I wonder how this will work out on the scoring system or how it will turn out. So there we go. So there's your answer.
We got a unanimous decision with 3 judges.
We did.
All scoring the bout 5 out of 10, half a roll of toilet paper.
That's right. Yeah.
So this whole pay-per-view was based on that one moment. Yeah.
we're gonna tell the Undertaker to rest in peace for the rest of the show here. We're done with that. Yeah. So final thoughts on this show. Yeah, it's a 5 out of 10 show. Again, we harped on it enough. But again, one of the most historic moments in pro wrestling history. And I think, you know what? In time for the next show, I'm going to throw on my Twitter at Kellen Nitro. This one here. We'll throw on the Twitter, what is the more historic moment of the two, the screw job or the formation of the NWO? I think I'll get some chatter for sure. I'm pretty interested to see the results of said poll. So that'll be up on the Twitter here over the next 24 hours or so, and we can get our responses for that. So because I'm legit interested to see what our people think about that. So
me too, because I still don't quite have an answer. Thinking about it,
I don't either. That's the thing, is that I could argue for one or the other. The thing is that it's so like I could be wrong for a very good reason and look at it and be like, yeah, I'm wrong. Because
you know what we could do, which would be interesting, between the 3 of us, if one of us is the prosecution, one of us is the defendant, and one of us is the judge.
Yes.
Present our cases as to who actually is the bigger moment. So one lawyer has to defend the point. One has to defend the point for the screw job. One has to defend the point for the NWO, and the judge will get to give his decision based on the 2 presentations of each lawyer.
Do we want to do that as our next show? And then Fraser, you can pick your show right after that. Does that work?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, we're down for this lawyer thing. Okay.
Yes. Okay. So I will be the judge since it is my channel.
Damn.
Because don't forget what platform you guys are on. So there we go. I am the judge.
I did not see that going that way. Because I did not want to take on. I don't want to take on Craig in character of a lawyer. Shit. God damn it.
I'm doing like Foghorn Leghorn lawyer. I'm like, well, my client, the Montreal screw job. Well, he will tell you and please the court.
I'm gonna come in there like Joe Pesci and my cousin Vinny. I'm done with this witness.
Well, I'll do declare you can be done with the witness, but I don't mean that I've dismissed the witness. You might want to understand the pecking order of the proceeding.
Pecking order. The literal pecking order, because you're Foghorn Leghorn.
Which is hilarious because in my cousin Vinny, the other lawyer is a very southern type of character that you're doing.
I thought you said the other lawyer was a chicken. I was like, oh my God.
Might as well have been.
I will defend my argument as the Cadbury bunny.
Dropping your sweet chocolate eggs all over the place.
Dropping the really sweet. I'm actually the Cadbury bunny. He's actually from Tennessee. And so he's bucking all over the place, giving you his Cadbury cream eggs. And that's how it's going to be.
Can I not be the lawyer? Seriously, I can't go up against this. I can't go up against Craig as a lawyer. I'm not up to that task.
Well, I was going to say, what size do you want to be? Do you want to be the? I was going to pivot to you next, TL, and just be like, do you want to be prosecution or defense? If you wanted.
Well, I guess in this case, it's not really a prosecution and a defense. It's more of a: are you on the screw job? Would you take the screw job side, or would you take the NWO side?
So, what side are you going to take?
Man, I wanted to be the judge because I don't have an answer, and you're the one that said you could take either side and make a case for it.
which is why I could be the judge.
That's why you could be.
No, that's why you could be the lawyer. You don't want to go up against Craig either, do you?
It's my channel. I make the rules.
God damn it!
When it comes to the quiz debates on this show, I'm already the Undertaker at WrestleMania.
I was going to say, Fraser has a 1-0 record too. So
Questionable.
no, well, the fans gave him the victory the first one. So
You know what? You're just Shawn Michaels after he lost the first time.
Oh.
You're Shawn Michaels at the Slammy Awards going, Fraser, I can beat you.
I'll see you in the courtroom, damn it.
Excellent. Perfect.
Now, which side are you going to take? Are you on the NWO side or the Screwjob side?
Well, I do have a take already. Like I personally think the screw job is more significant, so I'll take the NWO side.
Okay.
What?
Okay. I see what he's doing.
I'm arguing for the side that I don't think is more significant.
Mm-hmm.
Why is nobody doing what they're supposed to do here?
That's the strategy.
When you
Craig's
enter the
going with
Firefly Funhouse of the courtroom, that is my mind.
That's right.
I'm gonna start playing the Firefly Funhouse theme because I'm gonna be there I'm gonna be there in like the sweater, and I'll be like, "Oh, Tyler, you've come into the funhouse.
Oh, Lord.
Hey, you can't escape. You can't run.
Let me in."
So the one thing that I forgot to mention coming off the back end of this pay-per-view was Nitro. And I said I was going to hit on Nitro quickly at the end of the show here the next night. It was the first Nitro to emanate from the Disney MGM Studios parking lot. So it's an outdoor show with like 500 people around it, which is weird for Monday Night Television, but there you go. Rey Mysterio Jr. wins his first title in the United States on that card by defeating Dean Malenko in the opener.
And that's right, in that outdoor match.
Yes. Yep. That's exactly
Who's that flying out the sky? R-E-Y Mysterio. Here we go.
Yep. And the outsiders, sans Hollywood Hogan, because don't forget, Hogan only works pay-per-views during this era, show up at the end of the show and crash Nitro once again and lay waste to the Horsemen in the ring. And so that caps off, or that ignites the rivalry, NWO versus Horsemen, which carries on through the summer and into the War Games and into next year too, because the year after 97 was NWO versus Horsemen in the War Games match. But this just is, them basically laying waste to something that WCW had already built up to be big, which was the Horsemen. So WCW, everybody. New shiny object. We're going to push that. How's that?
I have to defend the screw job.
Yes.
This is going to be interesting.
This will be fun. I think I got a cloak downstairs and some judge gear, so I'm going to wear that and just be like.
Why do you have the? I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
But also, it's funny because I know Ty is a heart guy, and now you have to defend arguably his darkest moment.
I don't have an issue with that. My issue is that I don't like. I should be the judge because I don't have a take on this.
Well,
I truly don't know which was the bigger moment in wrestling because they're both the biggest moments of the 90s.
Well, we gotta decide. We gotta pitch to see what moment is the best.
And don't forget, you're pitching to appease the judge, who is me. So
play to the judge.
I should have been the damn judge. I should have been the judge. George is getting angry.
Are you doing the "it should have been me" promo?
Yeah. No, I'm doing the George Costanza. George just got angry. I should have been the judge.
Well, hey, I'm looking forward to that show, guys. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we'll get that cranked out here in the next couple of weeks or so, or something like that for everybody, and it'll be a blast for sure to do. So we'll give these guys their time to come up with their cases, and we'll talk about that for sure.
We
And
should get a jury.
We should get a jury.
We should get a jury and do this in some kind of office-looking thing. Make it official.
Well, the thing is that
production values.
Yes, which I have none of. So it'll have to be virtual like this.
All right, we'll do it. Fuck it, we'll do it live.
But your idea for jury or jurors is possibly doable. I'll reach out and see who I can grab for jurors for this thing. So
no jurors, because you're the judge that's going to make the final decision,
right.
not the jury.
Yeah, I can't do that.
But I will bring in witnesses.
Oh, okay.
I'll bring in witnesses.
You will bring in witnesses. Okay.
I'll bring in witnesses.
So both sides can bring in witnesses. That's your side too, Fraser. You can bring in witnesses.
I'm throwing everything out the wall here.
I don't have anybody I could bring in. I don't know.
Exactly. All right, fine. No witnesses because you can't bring a witness.
Oh, okay. Well, whatever.
Well, I think that'll do it.
Yep. What do you think, Alex Jones?
I think they're making the fucking frogs gay.
Well, we are talking about the New World Order here, Mr. Jones. And
excuse me, I'm getting BS. I know for a fact that in the Deep South, they did this back in Baton Rouge. They had a pay-per-view called Bash at the Beach. They did this in 1994. And what happened was, at that pay-per-view, Bill Clinton came out with Monica Lewinsky, and they had an affair right in the middle of the ring before Edge and Lita did it on Raw. So what happened was, this was pre-planned, and it led to January 6th, which was an inside job, and nobody's been charged for that. And every charge was dismissed. And if you could please donate a lot of money because I don't have any.
Yeah, exactly.
Now wait a second. Mr. From the Dark Knight Joker. Can you verify anything that was just said here by Mr. Alex Jones?
All I know is that essentially the darkness will come, and that's because we have to kill the Batman. Dent, he's just the beginning. And as for him arguing about this court proceeding of which wrestling moment's significant, Craig has it. He'll find him and he'll make him squeal. And I know.
And can you wrap this up for us, Mr. Ric Flair?
Well, you know, when they say you're on the far side of town and you have to make something of it. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the best of them all? Where'd you, Nature Boy? Woo!
We're done. It's all we done.
It's done.
That's
It's over.
it.
Yeah. That's that right there. And all I'm thinking in my head is the Counting Crow song. Mr. Jones and me walk around. And
You can't do me. You can't do me. I'm cutting you off right now.
You can't do me. Oh, man. Right. All right. Social media's times. Craig, where can they follow you?
At CP Fraser 27 on certain things. I don't care. Don't
and
follow
at
me.
this
It
on
doesn't
other
matter.
things.
The internet doesn't matter.
So there we go. And Mr. TL, you?
Exclusively on Twitter X at TMLoutan. Please stop spamming me with that same girl with braces. What the fuck do they keep doing this for on Twitter?
I don't know. I keep getting one that eats chicken all the time. I don't get it. That's weird.
What?
Yes.
I keep getting the big titty, big booty girl that has braces. I'm like, why is she in every photo and what is happening?
I'm getting the no tits girl with the KFC bucket, and I'm like, what's going on?
Man, Twitter got weird.
It got dark.
And if
I
you
can't
want to be a
show-
part of it, please join me at TMLoutan.
Yeah, I can't show it because we get booted off because it's, a little NSFW, so we won't do that. But you can follow me on the other things. I'm on Freds now too, at Kellen Nitro. So you can follow me over there on Freds, where it's a 100% less porn related. I guess
It'll
social
get
media.
there.
It eventually will, but we're just enjoying it right now as it stands. So it'll eventually screw up. We just don't know when. So, hey.
And of course, you can follow Mean Gene Oakland on Twitter.
Tweeter.
Will you stop?
So,
There he is.
All right.
That's a good.
Next episode, court is in session, and these boys will debate the merits of what is better. And you can also go to my social media right now at Kellen Nitro if you're watching it. I will have the poll up, and we'll get the poll from people over the next day or so on what's the bigger moment in the 90s, the screw job or the NWO formation? One of the two. The Hogan heel
I'm
turn
going to wear a suit.
or Bret Hart?
I'm going to wear a suit, damn it.
Okay.
You must look good for your own funeral.
Whoa. Ooh. That wall came up pretty fast there. Holy
Oh.
moly. Absolutely. There we go.
Can we
So-
cut it? I'm bleeding now.
Yes, we'll get out of here. Later days, everybody, and happy wrestling watching. We'll catch you next time here on Nitro Maniac TV's Wrestling Limited. Bye-bye.